enemy. So I personally don't know people who are getting through a divorce or who are having issues in their marriages. To be very fair, I read a lot of these things only online. The people I know around me are actually very happily married, young people who are just trying to do the best in their marriages so that they both of them will win. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say for now.
Fantastic. Fade?
Yeah, thank you so much, Solomon. 'Cause the reason why I was really happy when Solomon mentioned that I feel like as a married person who is recently married and living in, um, you have your own share of experience to talk about. Thank you so much. So we'll move on to Fumi. Hi, Fumi. Hello. Good
Hi, how
evening.
you doing?
I'm fine,
Good
thank
evening.
you. How is your day going?
It's going very well. Thank you so much for
Oh,
asking. Hi.
thank you for coming and agreeing to this. I know some of you might be very, very busy, but it's always a pleasure having you guys on board. Thank you. So let us
Thank
hear
you.
what you have for us.
Thank you for Friday. Thank you, Oluwamotebi, for having me here this afternoon. Well, no, it's afternoon my time. So, while everybody was talking, I kind of took notes down, and couple of years ago, about maybe 2 years or so, I used to host a space on Twitter called the Chat Room. And we got to hear a lot of different opinions about marriages and all of that. So I know that I've come to know that Twitter the has a way of pushing agendas when it comes to marriage. Marriage is a very beautiful thing if you do marriage with the right person. So I have three things I'm gonna talk about. The first one is do marriage with someone that is mentally matured. It's not always about money. It's not about what they have, what they don't have, what they're projecting, where they're from. You could have it all and be like literally empty in the brain. And so obviously love is not going to exist. It's not even going to be love. It's not going to be scam. It's going to be foolishness. So you have to literally, when you want to do marriage, make sure that person complements you mentally. Your goals align. You know where you're going. You know where you're starting. You know exactly where you guys are going to. You have to be on the same plate mental status with a person. You cannot be like 10 years ahead with being so wise, so exposed, and then you're with someone that absolutely doesn't even know anything about the Western world, the culture, all of this stuff. You have to have the same vision. You have to have the same goals. You have to figure out how you guys have that mental maturity even from the beginning. If somebody is always about, oh, I want to always materialistic, then you'll know that obviously it's going to be hard when it comes to money, because they want to wear the latest, they want to carry the latest purse, they want to drive the latest cars. Meanwhile, you're trying to save to build an empire. If you guys have two different goals, then there's a problem already. So, like I always tell everyone that I mentor, I tell them, I'm like, you have to do marry with someone that is mentally matured and is ready for this thing called marriage. Yoruba usually say that marriage is oja okoko. So it's not about, you took classes, you did this, you did that. It's a place that you don't even know what's going to happen. So you can't even predict the things that are going to happen when you step into marriage. But if you are matured and you are ready, it gives you that launching pad to be able to overcome whatever it is that marriage throws in your way. The second thing is communication. I am big on communication. You have to talk, talk, and talk. In this day and time, especially with social media, with everything that is flying up and down, you can't do what our parents did. You can't sleep in one bedroom and then your wife sleeps in another bedroom. I'm talking about literally. There has to be that open channel of communication. You have to be able to talk even where you don't want to talk. Even when you're being critical, even when you're criticizing each other, you have to be able to communicate. It's so powerful. It helps you navigate so much. I know that, I can't say that there's no marriage that people will fight. Even after you've fought and express your anger. You have to be able to create that environment where you guys can come together and speak about the things that are actually making you guys angry. You have to learn to make sure that when you're going to a relationship with anyone, the lines of communication have to be open. If you these are red flags that we overlook when we're dating, and then we get into a marriage and you cannot communicate with your spouse. Your spouse has to be, just like what Solomon said, your best friend. Don't care how. You can't have a bestie outside and then your spouse, you and your spouse barely talk. You have that person, because the Bible says the two shall come together and they shall become one. I'm sorry to go religious here, but it is what it is. When you guys are one, then you understand that when my husband's head is hurting him, I also have to understand that my I feel that pain as well. And that's just communication. It's just those little things. He doesn't have to be the most wealthiest person in the world, and you don't have to be the most intelligent woman in the world. You just have to complement each other, and communication is a great way to building a foundation to last forever. So I got married when I was 20 years old. I had seen everything around me growing up was hell no. I literally told a friend of mine that I want to wait till I am established, till I can say my say before I go into any marriage. And I told her, I was like, I'm not even interested in marriage. I don't want to do marriage. Like, this marriage stuff is just messed up. Just because all the stuff I saw around me. But I think my thing is my own thing is just grace, because I found grace with God and I was able to like deal with my traumas a little bit. And then I don't know how I walked into the marriage and I met my husband. We didn't even have anything. We had nothing, but we believe. That's why I said mental maturity. We believe that even in this economy, in this Western world that we're in, we can conquer if we believe. What are your goals? What are my goals? They align together. And we decided to go ahead and fight for the future. And so we communicated at every step of the way. Even when I'm angry, I hold on to myself, like I won't go to bed angry again at my spouse. So that will make me grumbly get out of bed and be like, babe, we need to talk. Or he will come and meet me and text me and send me a text me, babe, we need to talk. You have to always have those lines of communication open. Love is a beautiful thing, but when you do love with the wrong person, then it becomes like foolishness or scam. And my final point is money. Oh my God. Money is the reason why a lot of marriages like go sideways. Like they just go to the left, right. Because in the culture that you're coming into a culture where there's bills, there's car notes, there's mortgages, there's utilities, there's phone bills, there's all these expenses that are coming at you aggressively every month. I know in Nigeria we pay our bills once a year, or when you buy a house, you buy the house outright. Once you pay for that house, it belongs to you. It's yours. The electric bill is like, we rely on, fuel and all of that stuff. But when you're in a Western culture, you're paying for everything. The comfort that we so much shout about comes at a heavy price tag. So when you have finances in the wrong place, oh my God, it sets the ball rolling for everything to fall apart. If you're hiding money, our parents, one will say, oh, I bought a land here, I don't want this one to know. I bought a land there, I don't want that to know. Here, I always tell every people that I mentor, you better do a joint account. You better get off your high horse. You better forget about your ego. You better forget about all of this nonsense that we've been raised with, and believe in your spouse. And if you have a spouse that doesn't know how to do money, you need to get them in some kind of financial training and help them learn how to financially be stable, because you're making it is dependent on them getting their acts together, and it's also dependent on you too getting your acts together. Money is a big, 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 big issue, and we always don't like to talk about it and sweep it under the carpet, act as if it's not happening. But that is why a lot of marriages are folding up, because somebody is doing something they shouldn't be doing behind the scene and not telling the other spouse. How could you? So let's a story now. A lady was working in America. She was an RN. She was sending all of the money that she was making behind her husband. She let her husband know she was working overtime. And all of the money that she get from the overtime, she was gathering it up and was building a house in Nigeria. And her husband didn't even know about it. When he found out that that's what she did, obviously the marriage it just went north immediately. Like, you can't do stuff like that. And meanwhile, they were having issues with money at home. She was always complaining, I'm working, and this is what they pay me. She had two accounts, so she split her paycheck. Half goes into the account, and the other half goes into the account that she used to transfer money to Nigeria. When you're coming into marriage or a relationship, you have to understand, you have to communicate, how are we going to handle our finances? What are you doing? What am I doing? What do I bring to the table? This is it, oh. These are my 10 fingers. You have to be honest. Because if you're not honest, then what are you doing in that relationship? Just playing and wasting people, you're wasting that person's time. Finance is a big, 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 big issue to marriages, to how your marriage will survive. In whether you're in America, you're in Canada, you're in the US, wherever you are, you have to deal with your financial issues, and you have to address how you guys are going to deal with the finances moving forward. Thank you, Olomo, for having me. It was great to speak here. Love is a beautiful thing. Love is not scam. I know that there are people out there that do a lot of love scam, but I believe what I've seen online is just because there's a lot of miscommunication and misrepresentation. Love is a truly, truly beautiful thing, and marriage is, oh my God, it's heavenly. It's lovely. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.
Wow, wow, wow. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sister Fumi. My wonderful woman in construction. That's what I call you. And of course, one of the founders for Diaspora Relief. Always got to have you on board at all times. Love is a beautiful thing, I agree as well. But I think your last topic you talked about money. That's a big, big issue. In fact, most marriages that I know that has broken up in diasporas come to finances, maybe like it or not, from people not want to sharing bills and of course supporting each other. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna ask Sister Dodo a question because being a psychotherapist, I'm sure that she's probably dealt with a few cases like that. So there's something similar going on recently, mostly in the UK. So of course, I mean, I'm one of the admins of the Nigerians in UK community, and some of Nigerian communities in diaspora that obviously we talk and connect at all times. There's some issues when it comes to people come to abroad. I mean, I've said this so many times that people change once they come to abroad. A lot of people back home, you plan your stuff, you say, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. Let's go abroad, let's go to this, center climbs, let's work together towards a better, brighter future. We plan ourselves, but once we get abroad, one of the partners just change. Now, what's now it seems to be a big deal now, and the same pattern whereby I could say at least maybe 10 or 15 couples that, I mean, some they've reached out to me, and stuff, whereby it's always same issues. They come here, the secret situation of this country, especially like, for example, the UK now, couples that come to the UK, you know exactly what it is. Okay, one person can do 20 hours a week, the other person can work full times. So everybody knows this from day one, before you left the shores of Nigeria, that a student can only work 20 hours a week. And of course, as a student, you can only work, more hours during your holiday times. But you, but the dependent, can work full times. So we make all these plans, but suddenly get here 2, 3 months down the line to help your partner is a problem. In fact, I think over 100 Nigerian students in the UK have been registered in the past few weeks. I think I tweeted a couple of weeks ago, even up to even today. I think about 4 DMs from some of our students who have been registered. And when you look at it, the finance whereabouts, they've planned themselves. But unfortunately, their partners have let them down. And some of these partners are now so cold that, oh, I can't be working for you to be supporting you. I can't be doing this. But we agreed on this before we left Nigeria. We agreed on all the stuff. It's now come to a situation that a lot of people are just walking away. They get here, all the plans that they plan already in Nigeria, once it gets over here, is a different ball game. But you know clear that your partner cannot afford to pay his or her school fees. You know your partner cannot afford to do A, B, C, D because they can only work 20 hours in a week. But you're working full time. You're working 6 days in a week, 5 days in a week. In fact, some are working 7 days in a week. But now to not come and support the same partner that they spent millions for you guys to come together here, you just walk away. And of course, maybe you like it or not, what Stefan was talking about is the money situation. That's exactly what the finances come through as well. Because look at, once you come abroad, a lot of people see money, they become something different. And maybe we like it or not as Nigerians. Money is a big, big deal. And a lot of people have changed when it comes to money. Sister Adedoyin, in this kind of situation, so what would you advise this kind of couples to do? I mean, do people sign, I don't know, like a legal engagement or something? I don't know what exactly, because maybe like it or not, money is a big deal and it's causing a lot of a lot of relationship marriages are breaking up in the UK that I know, and it seems the same pattern. A lot of people of course, were broken up. A lot of people who are depressed. A lot of people who are down because they can't afford to pay their school fees, as because their partners have let them down. So how do they resolve this kind of situations that they're doing? The mic is just mine.
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, we all need to understand the fact that there is a heightened transactional dynamic going on with the whole Japa wave. Whether we like it or not, there is a heightened transactional dynamic going on with the Japa wave. Solomon Pucci said something, and he was able to properly distinguish between the two categories of marriages that we are talking about today. The first category would be those that have been married from Nigeria, and then the second category would be those that probably came on the heels of their marriage, right? Like they got married maybe shortly before coming, or one person had been here before and the other person came to join. Okay, all of this dynamics would it will sorely test any spirit of transactional prioritization. Do you understand me now? So money will always be an issue, but in a place where you swallowed everything that had been done to you by your partner because you had no choice, and now you are in a place where you suddenly have a choice. Money has given you wings. You have become Red Bull. You can fly, you can do stuff, you can talk. Every single thing that you stood for is no longer what you're standing for. Because now your crayfish is no longer bending. Do you understand? Your crayfish is no longer bending. You don't need to behave like another person any longer. The heart of man is desperately wicked, and now you are embodying that wickedness with your spirit, soul, and body. All right. Money is just the weapon of mass destruction in the context selected here. Okay. So let us be realistic. Money will always be a problem, but it's going to be a bigger problem when you come to a place where you can weaponize it. And that is exactly what we have here. Now, what can be done? Because that's what you asked. Let me tell you the truth. And I'm going to be very objective with us. I'm going to speak both as a wife in a marriage and as a therapist. Number one, from the angle of being a wife, you want to understand who you married. I know it's okay to come here and say, "Oh, I'm enjoying my marriage. My partner and I we have an understanding." Some people married people that they did not have an understanding. It is the sad truth. It is the realistic, painful truth. Some people were young, immature. A lot of things went down during the process of getting married. They did not tackle the questions at the right time. A lot of horrible things that were not addressed is suddenly coming up now. So they don't have the luxury of, okay, I married my partner. We had interesting conversations. We knew what we wanted to do upfront. So I am going to need you. You know, you said it jokingly, but it's the truth. I'm going to need the both couples to sign something. And I'm saying this because I've had to oversee that in this place. I've had to oversee that where couples are saying, listen, I've had people that are hurting because their wives did funny things to them. Can we come up with an agreement? It's not anything scary. Nobody is scared of a documentation as long as the both of us are planning to keep to it. Okay, simple highlights. I know one of these documentations that I oversaw with the help of a lawyer before the both of them left Nigeria, and they mentioned four things. Number one is, as long as the both of us are treating each other right, we are going to have an account. They called it the self-development account. I want you to listen to what I'm saying, because these are practical tips that are helping people that are trying to navigate the fear of what would happen in the future. You know, like I said, I'm not going to be, I'm very, very non-partisan to all this biased noise, because you don't know what's going on in the background. We only have this half-baked stories that are sensationalized to gather clout and stuff online. All right. So you want to be able to say, number one, okay, if I treat you right and we treat each other right, this is going to be an account where we both put so and so amount of money. You're going to be working more than I'm working. I'm going to be the student. You're going to be this and that. Okay. I'm going to put this into the account. you're going to put that into the account. We are going to review this every 3 months. I still did such a review just yesterday. Mr. Lomodebi, I don't mind sharing that document with you and taking off all the personal details. These are things people are doing. You have to be realistic. Your partner is not frugal. Your partner has a propensity to waste money, or your partner is hot-headed when it comes to their personal plans, and you still want to be able to see the dreams come true, the things you planned together, and you are scared of what this new wave might do to them. Second thing is, what are we defining as being treated right? It is specific. Number one, no emotional abuse. I made the two couples in question come up with what they would want. No emotional abuse. Don't call me names. Don't say, are you stupid? Are you mad? etc. I don't want any of that. Let's talk like two adults. Number two is, let us make sure that we understand our roles in the family. What are you going to be doing? Some couples need to spell it out. In my own home, we don't need all of that. I have issues with sleeping. I cannot remember when I woke up to cook for anybody, and it's been 7 years plus. But that's not the blueprint for other couples. Some men genuinely don't know how to cook. As I speak to you today, I still eat spaghetti and correct egg with all the workings of well-cooked meals, a well-cooked meal that was brought to me right in my office. I didn't know when I just start someone and say, Father, I thank you for this man. It is his off day, and he went to town and he cooked. He cooked like no man's business. And that's it. But some couples don't do that. Okay, can we agree that, okay, every Friday when we are both off or something, you are going to do all the cooking, and then during the week you can do small cookings. My point is, document everything. There's something to fall back on. And that's why I like Sheldon in Big Bang Theory. The guy might seem like a crazy person, to many of us, a social anomaly, for those of us who have watched Big Bang Theory, but it worked for him and his friends. Put these things down in documentations. It is not ruthless. It is not inhumane. Yes, your own marriage is working. I am happy for you. Mine is working too. God is working for me. God is working in my life. We thank God for these things. My point is, if you know realistically that documentation is going to give you sanity, go ahead, document. And if your partner is not working within the documented stuff, you can call them out like, bro, this is it. So in a case where people say, oh, my wife pushed me out, etc., bring out document online now with evidence that this person has not been doing it, has not been meeting up with their bargain. I'm not saying this is the ideal, but I'm a pragmatist in issues like this. Therapy has opened my eyes. You need to understand the world is changing. Transactions are happening every day. It is our sad reality, but the world is broken, and broken people will break people. So, number one, document every single thing you want. Be assertive, be clear, and let your communication be concise. If you need a therapist and a lawyer to work as a mediator or an arbitrator between the both of you, by all means, go for it, especially if you know you're getting married on the premise of leaving Nigeria together to build a life here. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to say, as a therapist and as a realist, please, by all means, I beg you, with all that you hold dear, extend grace to yourselves. I beg you. See, we have only one life. I still got a notification yesterday about a lady that died in my community, because I belong to this community. Just the lady is dead, has left her kids and her husband, and every day I wake up and I say, "Are you doing? Your life is not assured for tomorrow. You have today to love this man to pieces, and your kids. What are you doing to make a difference? How are you making this man see that you are freaking crazy about him? I'm not loud about PDA online, but I promise you, if you are a fly on the wall, those that know, Fumilayo knows, she's close to me on a personal level. Lami, she's my friend on Twitter. These guys know. My husband and oh my, I don't joke with that man. I will never. You see, as I'm talking, I'm already feeling passionate, because he has proven to me that he go die there. And me said, God forbid that we not die there. I'm going to love him today, tomorrow. Will the sun shine tomorrow? I don't know. Will I love my husband tomorrow? Big time, man. Big time. What are we doing? We are extending grace to each other. I don't want him to die. And I'm now saying, oh, but God, I prayed, I fasted. Why did he die? No, I don't have control over that. And I'm not serving God because of what he will give me. I'm serving God because I love him. So what am I going to do about today? I'm going to love him to bits. Love each other now. Be expressive. Let the energy in your home be saturated with positive energy. Make it your duty on earth to live like today is your last. Everything you need to work on, your personal foibles, your flaws. Don't wait until you've hurt your partner. Go to therapy. Once they tell you the way you talk to me hurts me, and you know you have anger issues or something, then go and work on it. Make sure you are doing something to be a better version of yourself, and make sure that you are teachable. And that's my final point here. At the heart of this financial issue or whatnot is teachability. When you're teachable, your lost and the control that money has over you will die a natural death. I'm going to say this here because you need to know. My husband sends his salary to my account. He doesn't bat an eye. And let me tell you this, it's a vulnerable moment for me, and I'm going to be sincere with us. So in Nigeria, I'm a therapist. You all know this. My husband ran a bakery. All right. You know how bakeries are, or entrepreneurship. I'm going to round up very soon. I'm sorry for taking your time, but I just need us to. I'm very passionate about this too, because every time I see it online, something in my heart bleeds. It bleeds, and I know the devil has an agenda against marriages, but we need to stand as a unified voice to say the truth objectively. Okay, so this is the story I'm going to round off with. So back then we had a joint account, no issues whatsoever. He makes money from the bakery, we put there. I make money from therapy, we put there. We never ask questions. I remember one day my maid said to me, she said, I don't understand you, mommy and daddy. I'll go to your wardrobe and see plenty money in the wardrobe. How do you guys, who owns the money? I don't know. We both own the money. Just take it and go and use it for whatever we sent you for. And so when we got here, I did not want to assume anything. I did not want to pretend like this was not a new place where he would now be making steady salary. Do you understand? I didn't want to be hurt and say, oh, but when we were in Nigeria and money was not steady, everybody was doing joint account. I didn't want to do that. I was being a pragmatist. So I said, okay, babe, what do you want us to do? Do you want to hold on to your account? I hold on to mine, and I'm going to do maybe like a small account. My husband began to laugh. He said, where the hell is this coming from? And he said something that made me cry. He said, are you doing? Long before we decided to come here, I have promised myself that you can never and will never doubt the authenticity of my commitment to you. So anything we are doing before, we are going to do much more here. Till tomorrow, my husband sends his account money to me. It is in my account, because, and it is from my account that we do all the bills, insurance for his car, everything goes from my account. So it is literally, I'm the one literally managing the funds. So the only thing he does is he buys the groceries because his place is close to work, and the mall is close to his place of work. My point is that might not work for you, but I'm saying whatever works for you, I beg you, hold on to it and protect it. Even if people vilify you for it, do it. Don't make money a master over you. You are not an animal. Money is an inanimate object. If money makes a fool of you, you are a fool indeed. So don't make money the master over your marriage. It's your partner first. If you die, all these things will not matter. So give yourself brain. Document if you're not sure about your partner's emotional intelligence, and if you're sure, extend grace to yourself like no man's business. Love yourselves recklessly, and don't give 2 cents about noise online. Love is real, love is sweet, but give yourself brain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Doing always on point. SK, the mic is yours, SK.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for that wonderful take. I like the way the space has been going so far. I like the fact that we started on a good note. We've been hearing about the good, the sweet part of being married, and the advantages of being with a good partner. Obviously, there are questions which I'd appreciate if we get answers to. Um, it's obvious that the reason for this topic is the fact that we've been hearing a lot of stories online about how people have probably got married to jackpot, or probably they've been married before they jackpot and things turn sour when they get to the abroad. Um, a lot of horrible stories. I'm not even going to go into that now. But something that I just really need answers for is the fact that, do we agree that marriage is transactional? Whether you're with the person, like you guys are lovey-dovey, whatever, is everything is going on smoothly at the moment, no fight for 20 years. Do we agree that marriage is actually transactional? That's number one. And number two thing now is, marry somebody who's compassionate, marry somebody who has sense, marry somebody who's all of these. How do you know all of these things? Because people do change. Yes, people do change, and something very small can just trigger that change in you. Like I think it was the other speaker, the Adedoyin that was saying something about the power change and all of that. Like, think something very ridiculous can even make an individual change. Somebody that you've known for years, the moment you get to the abroad, and okay, just a very, very quick instance. Somebody, people that have been married together for years, they got to the abroad. Now, one of the partners wants to get a tattoo because apparently in Nigeria, like majority, even the in-laws might not allow you to get tattoos because they have something to say about tattoos. But on getting to the abroad, one of the parties, I'm not even going to mention whether it's a male or female, but one of them wants to get a tattoo. The other person said, no, you cannot get a tattoo. But the ones that want to get a tattoo feels like now I'm in the abroad, I can get a tattoo because nobody's going to tell me off. And that small issue was one of the reasons that I started having problems. What do you have to say about this?
Um, I think okay, is it the doing that would answer the question or Queen Solomon also wants to speak? Solomon, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I want to say something because he asked a very good question. A lot of times we say marry someone who's kind, marry someone who's compassionate, as if people set out to marry people who hate them. But I think that that advice normally comes from the place of people dating in a very frivolous way without looking at very core things that define the way people handle issues. Um, um, but going to what you said about, let's say, let me just go straight to the last example you said. Let's say somebody moved to the or a couple moved to the UK, and then one suddenly is now okay. I want to get a tattoo, and another one is saying, well, you weren't like this in Nigeria. Da, 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 da. I mean, I personally believe that you should not marry someone who doesn't have relationships that hold them accountable other than the marriage. And I know that, people might say, oh, well, you they don't need people to talk sense into them. But I think it's very important, whether you are religious, whether it's a religious relationship, maybe your pastor, whether it's an older couple who are actually like your marriage mentors. But I think that it's very important because there are times when your partner is going to do certain things that doesn't really represent who they are. They might actually just have a moment of madness, to be fair, where they are now having certain cravings that they wouldn't usually have, and they might not listen to you, and it's absolutely fine. And I think that that's the time to go back to certain relationships that they have in their lives, that people that they respect, people that they tremble at. Now, I don't mean in a very literal sense, but when as a child, or yeah, as a child, let's say, if some, not even as a child, even as an adult, to be fair, someone that you respect and you really, really love and you really, really, honor, if they call you, sometimes you'd be like, oh, who knows what I've done wrong? Such relationships. I think it's very important to marry people who have people like that can call them to order. But in a case like that they've spoken to people, or you guys have spoken to people and nothing has changed. To be fair, I'm using the example of the whole tattoo thingy. There is really nothing you can do. And I think that this is one thing that we need to realize, that it gets to a point in marriage. Obviously, I'm not talking about physical abuse or emotional abuse, where your partner is going to evolve and do certain things that you cannot help. They want to get a tattoo, you cannot help it. Yes, I don't think I have an issue with a tattoo generally. I don't know if I'm going to get one, though, but I know it's culturally a very big issue for people who were raised and born in in conservative societies. But it doesn't really impact and now I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying there is really nothing you can do. Will you say you want to break your marriage because of a tattoo? Like, there is really nothing you can do than just to keep on talking, communicating, seeking help. And I think that that is the most important thing. Like Adedoyin actually said, marrying someone that is very open to therapy, that you are able to say, okay, cool, we're not seeing eye to eye on this. I brought it up like 5 times now. We've prayed about it. We've spoken to people. Okay, cool. Can we go to a professional? I think that that's going to help. And then the first thing you said about people changing, I have a theory that I don't think that people necessarily change. I think that people only discover parts of themselves that they never had an opportunity to see. Now, let me give you an example. You can only see as far as the options you have around you. You know, I read a tweet, was it 2 days ago, where a woman said, "Oh, well, now I have moved to the UK and I just discovered that I like white guys, so I'm leaving my marriage," you know. And I was just laughing. People were like, "Oh, women are changing." Da, da, da. No, it's not a women's thing. You cannot know if you like white people if you have never been exposed to white people, period. So you've lived all your life in Nigeria, you've lived all your life in Africa, you probably have never sat in a room with white people before. You don't know how they do stuff. Now you move to the UK where your mental options, your mentality is basically expanded, and there are just lots of realities around you. There is that normal human curiosity to want to try out, and say, okay, let me. I know people that have dated white women that say they can never marry white women. But so that's the way life exists. I feel like people who are coming from, okay, they've never really interacted with white people or this culture, they really want to try this one out. And then white people from that angle, they really want to try black people out. And I think that that's where commitment really comes into play. And commitment is when you decide that, well, I've made this choice and I will make the best out of this choice. It doesn't matter who else I see, whether at my workplace, this is the person that I've chosen. I think that for a lot of marriages that crash under this whole guise of, oh, somebody has changed, it's just a matter of somebody choosing an easy way or making an easy choice. You know, it's difficult to be committed in marriage. And I think people need to understand this. It's not a natural thing to be committed, in fact, generally, to be committed is not a natural thing. That's why a lot of people in this space right now, I'm very sure, have decided that, okay, I want to work out. And I'm very sure that maybe only 5% of people are actually doing that, because discipline is a difficult thing to build. So I think that, when it has to do with people changing, it's just people being indisciplined. It's not really changing because, yeah, it's not really changing. And by the way, every human has the same capacity to be evil. Everybody. There is nothing anybody on this space cannot do. There is nothing. The difference is just to what level are they committed and disciplined enough to say, I will not do this. And more than just saying, I will not do this, to remove themselves from situations that trigger that proclivity to do certain things, right? I don't know if that answered the question,
Okay.
but yeah.
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you very much. Thank you for your submission as well. Just what you're saying regarding the video. I think I saw the video of the Nigerian woman who said she was now attracted to white men, and I was just shocked, thinking, what exactly? I mean, you're a married woman, for crying out loud. I mean, people come to different parts of the world. You know, we meet Asian people, Latino, Italiano, Swedish people. We didn't just say you live your marriage because you're attracted to, or you in love with Swedish people, or you in love with Italian. I think I just say just a commitment, and that was very disrespectful to the husband. And I mean, I was shocked, to be honest. I mean, you just the audacity of it for her to just come out and say, I'm in love with white men. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, let's keep moving. Thank you, Solomon. And Queen Arit, quickly, please. The mic is yours.
I wanted to answer. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can I hear? Go
Okay,
ahead now.
good.
Go ahead now. Yeah.
I wanted to answer the question about the first question that the gentleman asked about, is marriage a contract, something like that. My answer is yes and no. Marriage is a contract, and marriage is not a contract. And the reason I say it like that is because it depends. It depends. Um, we've seen time and time again, particularly in history, how marriage was used to unify tribes, unify different groups. Marriage was used to ratify covenants or agreements between families, and really that was the main thing. They were not really thinking about, oh, do they like each other? No, it was okay in order to symbolize, quote unquote, the agreement or the union between our two different groups, one from each will marry. So we've seen that happen, and it still happens till today. So I think it really depends. I think it's short sighted, and I'm choosing my words carefully. I think it's short sighted to impose one view or the other on everybody. Because the reality is, there are some relationships that work better with that contractual paradigm in mind. That's just the truth, right? So if we're talking about, okay, what is working, right? Sometimes, you see what the therapist, I was laughing when, but I mean, I agreed with her to an extent when she said, document everything. Some people will look at that and say, if I have to document, what's the point? Well, there's a point, like that documentation for some people might work. Okay, if you have a partner that tends to forget what they agreed to, then that documentation might very well work, to keep things at hand. So I think and if you really look at it, I'm wrapping up now. If you really look at it on a practical level, even in quote unquote the relationships where you say, oh, it's for love, it's not contract, you still see some contractual aspects, right? So even if you don't call your entire relationship, oh, it's not a contract, okay, fine, I can accept that. But when you go now into the practical day-to-day level, you still see some contractual in the sense of agreement, in the sense of, okay, we're putting this on the table and we agree to this, we agree to these rules, or we agree to these stipulations, right? So I think idealistically, we like to think of marriage as forever, there's nothing anybody can do. But the reality is, when you consider the nature, human nature, I think Solomon said it that there's nothing that nobody is not capable of. And I agree with that statement 100%. So when you think about the nature, the natural, like, this is without training, this, when you just consider the nature of human beings, there are some situations that become ripe for abuse. Okay, become ripe for abuse. So I like, if you had asked me 20 years ago, I wouldn't be talking like this. But with the small age that God has given me, I've understood that it is very, maybe 0.0000001% of people that you can freely say there's nothing that will break that. Like there's absolutely nothing anybody. Okay. I think idealistically, we love to think that. And I think a big part of it comes from deep insecurity sometimes. We want the security of believing that there's nothing we can do that will make somebody to abandon us or leave us, right? There's that deep-seated, and I'm not going to get into it now, but my theory comes from deficiencies in your parental relationship. A lot of times when you see people that are very territorial or very almost like, oh, this relationship is my life in a toxic way, you can trace that behavior to some deficiencies in terms of their parenting or whoever raised them, right? But I think ultimately there can be a healthy sense of carefulness and deliberation when you know that there is something that can break this thing. Just considering us as human beings, yes, I know idealistically we love to believe that there's nothing, okay, but practically, when you know deep within you that this person is not just going to take anything, it can have the effect of saying, okay, I'm going to at least put forth that effort to behave, right? Or at least let there be a limit, right, to how I try this person. Yeah. So
Okay.
in that way, yes, I think that there's some contractual element. Thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, King Carrie. Thank you. Thank you. Because of our time, we're just trying to shorten because there's a lot of guest speakers who also want to speak. But thank you, Queen Harris, for your submission. So I just want to announce something quickly. So we for the NIK community, if you're a member of the Nigerian UK community, we're meant to have a space on Sunday regarding life insurance in the UK and income protections in the UK. Unfortunately, because of the good news, Nigeria's qualified against Ivory Coast, we are not going to be having that space on Sunday. We're going to be of course, postpone it to another day, but we'll definitely announce it. Some days, maybe by Saturday, announce a new date for the space itself. I'm trying to get the people the guest speakers were meant to educate us about life insurance, income protection in the UK and stuff. So listen, we've lost just last month. We've lost about I think about 6 Nigerians we lost that passed away in the UK just last month or so. In fact, just last week we lost another young lady. In fact, her body was only discovered after 2 days in a room. Nobody knew she was dead until after 2 days. So all these things matters a lot. We're going to talk about why life insurance is very, very important for you as a Nigerian in the UK. And of course, some of these courses are just about £10, £12 a month, the likes of Scottish Widows, Viva and stuff. Very, very important. So yeah, we are gonna be having that space again. So it's very important we have that space. But because of the football on Sunday, we're gonna be postponing the space again and rearranging it with the guest speakers. I'm not sure exactly when they're gonna be available again, but once they're giving me their dates, we'll put it out there and then replan the space again. So I apologize for that space on Sunday. Okay, let's keep it moving. Aaron, quickly please, the mic is yours, mate. Go ahead.
Yes, very quickly, in a few seconds, just to respond to what SK mentioned about can we agree that marriage is transactional? I think at the very core of us as human beings, we are transactional beings. And so when we are transactional in a way, we're exchanging something for something. We want to get a degree, we want to get this, we want to get love. And so it doesn't exonerate marriage in a way. When you go into marriage, you go in with the expectation that you are giving love, you are giving off your emotions. You will get that in return. And that's what causes the idea that people say, oh, I want to divorce, or I don't want to be with this person, because they are giving out so much energy, so much love, so much emotions and feelings, but they're not getting that back. So for me personally, I'm not a life coach, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not even too long in marriage. But then my thought is that the basis of whatever is going on is that we're exchanging something for something. Then even finances and money come into the play, which causes a lot of problems in marriage. For instance, some men, just very quick, some men want to uh, like I think Bucci mentioned that people like the idea. Some people get into marriage with the idea that they want a woman under them. And I was speaking to a friend somebody a few weeks, many months ago, and the person asked me a question that I found strange. He said, you've been married for a few years now. How come your wife is still bearing her name? She hasn't done a change of name. For me personally, I found that strange because um, the first time ever, like the thought of what do you call it? The thought of change of name came into the discussion. It was my wife who brought it up, and then I asked her, "Oh, do you want to do a change of name?" She said, "Oh yeah, down the track when she's done with, she's going." I said, "Oh, okay, that's fine when you're ready." But for the person I spoke to at the time found that as a problem because he felt, okay, I mean, it's a construct that happens, when wife marriage, she takes up the name and all of that. The simple question I asked him was, if you see my wife tomorrow somewhere, would you know, what would you first say? You say, oh, that's Aaron's wife. Except there's a divorce or anything. It doesn't matter anything. She's still going to bear her name. She's still her first name. But when you see her anywhere, it's the idea that this is Aaron's wife. She's met people at airports and they first, Aaron's wife, people that don't even know her. So again, it comes back to the idea of who are you married to? What is the understanding? What do you come to understand? But at the very core of marriage or anything as human beings, we are transactional. We're giving off things, we want things back. When we don't get them, that's what causes divorce, that's what causes problems in marriages and even in our day-to-day lives.
Thank you, Aaron. My brother all the way from Brisbane. I think it was your 7:30 now in Brisbane. 7:30 on Friday morning. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 7:41.
7:41 on Friday morning. Okay, fantastic. All right. Thank you. Just hang in there, mate. You're doing a good job. Okay. Thank you. So some of our guest speakers have not spoken yet, so I'm just going to give the mic to my wonderful brother, Chike. Chike is a tech career coach and one of the coordinators for the Nigerian community in Germany. Chike is Japa of his camp. A lot of Nigerians go to Germany. People get to Germany, the language barriers, the issues. You've seen people, go to this part of the world and they can't even do anything much because of the language barriers itself. And of course, people are forced to go to those kind of countries, or they sit off, oh, I just want to come to abroad. They deceive love, and once you get to a place like Germany, things changes. So, what's it like in Germany yourself? Chike, the mic is yours, Mike.
All right, thank you so much, Lom of Debbie, and good to see you again, Dedoy, and man, fantastic speakers. Honestly, one love to everybody. So basically, the perspective in Germany, I would say, I think most people that live in Germany can agree with me. It depends on first of all on the category of maybe your spouse, because if you move together with your spouse, there are two categories of people who just move. Maybe they got married in Germany, or they move together separately. So it's not like the UK um, where divorce might be so easy. The way it works here in Germany is this: from the German perspective, if you really say, look, you want to make up your mind to separate today, legally, it will take you at least. You have to be separated for at least a year. This is what the law says here in Germany. You guys need to be separate for a year. Separate, like living separate. Do not share together. Do not say, "Well, I miss you. Can I come and see you, visit you again?" You have to prove that both of you have lived separately for a year. Then you cannot approach the courts again. That is what they say, anyways. So, but the challenges in Germany, I'll say yes, language barrier is definitely one of them. So now it all depends on who your spouse is. If your spouse is someone who is maybe an African, similar culture, is now much, will I say depends, or also could be much easier. Now, also the challenge of marrying from a different race or a different, country, that is also challenging that due to cultural differences, language differences, etc. So basically, I'll say most of the challenges, like of course, if you decide to marry from another race or another tribe, you just have to adjust. You have to basically adjust to the laws of the country where you are in, and of course, and you and your partner can basically work out. But nevertheless, what we've seen here is that if you have successful role models, there are people who have done it successfully, regardless. You know, successful role models and have been married for a while, and you basically, as one of the speakers said it there, if you have someone you can speak to, guys, how are you guys doing this, like mentors, relationship mentors, experts that have been married for a while, that can guide you, have someone to listen, and of course you share things together. The way it is in Germany is also different. As you said, if you're coming from Nigeria, not one person may be able to bear all, depending where you live. Of course, you might need to income, like family and all that. So all these things need to be discussed. So, but all in all, I'll just basically say, uh, relationship in Germany, uh, it's this is also a huge issue. But regarding language barriers, that's one. So if you really want to really explore dating other races, this is something you would have to put in the work. So if you're not ready to put in the work, then that might be a challenge for you. Or if you say, look, I want to get married to cannot get married to a Nigerian African, like who understands my culture, who understands everything about me, then that could be um, you know, that could be a separate issue. So I think I'll just stop here and just
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Shike. Thank you very much. It's nice to hear from people passing from Nigeria and Germany. People talk a lot about German machine, the whole lot of stuff. But hey, I'm glad that relationship and marriages are working well for Nigerian couples in Germany itself. And so, guys, if you want to go to Germany, please follow the Nigerians in Germany community. Follow this gentleman, Chike, online, and you're in a good place. And of course, always learning, maybe you want to learn German, so many things to learn as well. But yeah, thank you, Chike. Let's keep moving. Treasure Abraham, good evening. The mic is yours. 5 minutes, please. Treasure Abraham,
Good evening.
good
Thank you.
evening. The mic is yours. Is Japa Love has come to you? Where are you based, by the way? Where are you based?
I'm in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria.
You based in Lagos. Anybody ever promised to take you abroad on the name of love? Marriages?
No, no, not really. I'm married.
Okay, go ahead quickly, please. Couple of minutes. The mic is yours. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. All the speakers have spoken where I just have this to contribute that when the reason for marrying someone is not right, that relationship will probably not work. You should marry for the right reason. Most time when people want to travel out and they are getting married, most times they are desperate and they settle for anyone that fits into their dream of traveling abroad. So for me as a Christian, I believe that if you're getting married, marry somebody who has same doctrinal persuasion as you. Marry somebody who is able to connect with you emotionally, is able to connect with you psychologically, is able to connect with you intellectually. When you are able to do that, and for you as a Christian, marrying somebody who the love of God has influenced his or her life is an added advantage. You look at all this, if you want to get it right and live a purpose driven life, you must consider this factor. beyond the looks, beyond the beauty, beyond anything you want to achieve. You should know that who you marry determines your destiny. If you marry wrong, you're going to be frustrated and it's going to cause a lot of harm to you as a person. So if you're getting married, you should be able to look at the
Treasure.
identify,
Okay, I think. Okay.
so that when you see these red flags, you've identified them, you'll be able to trash it out to know that you want to continue. So tomorrow you won't be surprised when you see characters that doesn't really go well with you.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you very much, Treasure. Thank you for your submission as well. I was thinking for us maybe you're using MTN or Glow when you went off, but I know MTN and Glow get us a bit, but it's all good. But yeah, thank you and happy marriage to you as well. Glad to have you on board as well. My brother, Mr. Mishu, the man from Canada, Nigeria, Jamaica, the man was all over the place. My guy, I don't think there's men are just in diaspora who can talk better on this topic. He's all of his camp. The mark is yourself.
Hello, good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here again. Hello, everybody. For us to learn from each other and to make use of what we have learned in our relationship, both people that are in courtship and people that are married already. Three things I'm going to be talking about briefly. First is Oluomo, please could you try, if possible, to edit out what are you doing Ajayi spoke about the therapist is very, very important for us to spread our message online. She spoke seriously about how things can work or how things should work in relationship, especially married relationship. That's the first thing. Second thing is uh, for people that are still dating, it's very, very important to date your friend. As in, if it's not going to work, don't patch it up, don't manage it, walk away from that relationship during dating. If you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend that is hiding his or her income from you, somebody that is not transparent, walk away is a red flag. Try your best to um, talk about it. Don't just walk away without talking about it. And you too be transparent because, like everybody is saying, money is a very big issue, and people say money is the root of all evil. So, if anybody you are dating is not transparent about his or her income, the person is kind of territorial in terms of his or her finances, in terms of his or her money, please walk away. Don't do it. I remember the first day I met my wife, I put up a kind of test towards her. I pretended like I'm a broke guy, right? Despite the fact that I'm the next person to an MD of a pharmaceutical company, not a big company like that, but at least at that time I was earning, so to say, good money, about 26,000 naira. That was in 1998 to be earning 26,000 naira. I think it's a big money for my standard from Omoko angle, kind of. So I pretended like uh, I'm a broke guy. I I saw she came to do something in our office. Then I came through the back door and approached her. We spoke a little bit. I made the conversation very lively to the extent that I was able to ask her for money. I said, babe, I'm hungry. First day, I'm hungry and I don't have anything on me. She dipped her hand into her pocket and gave me 50 naira. Wow. That was my first wow about somebody that I had I kind of instant crush on. Now, fast forward to our wedding. It was put together by both of us. She was doing a contribution in her place of work, and she she contributed about 30,000 towards the wedding. She bought her own clothes. I bought my own suit at Marina. Lagos. It was a fairly used suit. She never complained that how can we get married with a fairly used suit? Suit is suit, wedding is wedding. Just get married and go live your life. So if your wife or your husband during dating is not kind of transparent enough with our finances, please walk away. Then, second to the last thing I'll be speaking about is after the marriage or before the marriage, one thing that can solidify a relationship is for both partners to have common goals at every point in time. This is it's gone beyond joint accounts or we saving. We have to have a common goal, something we are pursuing at each point in time. Say, okay, we want to travel abroad. Okay, we have to contribute money. We have to put some certain amount of money together towards this traveling. How much how much can we put aside every month? You know how much I'm earning already. I know how much you're earning already. We put it together, we set it aside. Maybe 6 months before the money completes, boom, we spend it on the traveling. Okay, we want to build house in Nigeria. At some point, let's have a particular amount of money we are saving separate somewhere. Yeah, we do it together. If there is no common goal, it's easy for things to fall apart. Then when things want to fall apart, it will first show in the common goal. You will see that somebody is saying something different along the line when you have set a goal. So you will have a signal to talk about that. Hey, babe, oh boy, come, oh, wetin happen? I no see money for that account this month. What is going on? Oh, sorry, my insurance increased. Oh, I had to send money to so. So transparency is very, very important in any relationship. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, which may not be uh, so much in conformity with the discussion, but I'm still going to talk about it, which is if you find out that it's no more work, walk away, don't kill yourself, don't die because of anybody. Maximum 2 3 months, the person go do ta 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 ta, and now you die for fun. Don't die because of anybody. Your mental health is very, very important. If you have talked about it, you've gone to therapy, nothing is working. My brother, my sister, walk away, won't die. That is the last point I want to make.
Okay,
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Mishi.
everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Mishi. It's always glad to have you on board. Thank you for always educating us at all times. I really, really appreciate whenever you come on our spaces. Regarding study doing, we're doing a live spaces recorder, by the way, and also there's a live YouTube link on the jumbotron. So yeah, people can go back into it at all times as well. Regarding your how you made a partner, and the first day saying that you're hungry. Like no one should try that in this day and age we live in. Now. If you go and tell someone on the first date that no Solomon, were you gonna say something, Solomon, quickly?
No,
Solomon, you go.
sorry, I was actually laughing like nobody should even. Sorry, don't try that too. Ah, yeah.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Why do you say no? It's past now. Why do you say no one should talk like that? I tell you one thing. This this test that I put my wife of today through went on for about 3 months. She never knew my place. She never knows how much I earn during that process. She always have the thought that this is the broke guy. And she loved me the way I was at that time. Then the day I got another appointment to head the department in another office, and I went to her school. I didn't meet her in her school, and I dropped my complimentary card. The following day, she came to that office. She met me in the office. I was now looking like good guy, mid guy, right? She was now crying that why do I have to go through all those that she loved me the way I am. That it's not about material things or financial whatever. Not that she's from a rich background. She's from an humble background like me. But ever since then, I'm going to say this. I shouldn't have said it in an open space like this, but I will say it. I told her that day that whatever you may do to offend me in future, I've forgiven you. So that is a covenant between me and my God that whatever she will do in future, I've forgiven her because of who she is. So that is that binds me sometimes when I want to react to something. I will just think about it that she had invested a lot. Come on, she was in UK for 3 years. I was supposed to come into UK, but at some point I got 10 years visa ban in British embassy back in the days, right? Now, I called my wife that, come on, you have to come back home. She has a kid already in UK. She now has a genuine NI. I don't know what that means. Genuine NI. She now has a bank account. She has done training, stage one, stage two, healthcare, whatever, whatever. I told her that, babe, you have to come back to Nigeria so that we can keep this home and we'll now know where to go after you had arrived. A little bit of grumbling. My family went against me. Our own family went against me, but she stood by me. Now she brought my son back home. The boy he had in UK. She brought the boy back home. The boy and the other ones, they were staying with me. I was taking care of them, right? She went back to go Ozu more so that she can have something to bank upon on arrival. She went back, kept a year, and she came back fully and finally. If she had not contributed her own part towards life journey, we wouldn't have been here in Canada today with with first son graduated 3 years ago, second born in Part 3 University of Toronto with 75,000 Canadian dollar scholarship from TD Bank, with third born, same University of Toronto, one of the best university in the whole world, studying criminology and political science, with third mortgage in Canada, with an estate in Nigeria. If she had not played her own role, not be say I did perfect like that. Me, I be Omogburu, right? But I put aside the Omogburu when I meet somebody that is cool-headed and everly supportive. What else do I want?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay,
Thank you so
thank you
much,
very much
everybody.
for sharing your story. You're welcome, and thank you for sharing your story as well. Listen, I see all the amazing things you do for Nigerians in diaspora, even creating just back home. One of these days, even though we don't get money for UK, but we go put hands together, buy one of your properties, one of your estate as well. I know my
Oluomo,
guys
I
is
even
there.
get God.
Eh?
If we don't
Hmm?
get money, we get God.
I
They don't
agree.
want
I
to
agree
sleep
with
for
you.
this place, Oluomo. What's your price? Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mishid, and congratulations to your children as well, to your partner. And by the way, NI means national insurance number, so that's what it means in the UK. And the good thing is that it's also good to have a partner that we could work together towards a better, brighter future. And exactly your story is, it says that sometimes you meet some women that this guy is not he's not here yet and stuff that puts them off entirely. But I'm glad that your story was different entirely, and of course, it's only going to get better and better itself. Okay, let's keep moving because of time. Tolani, the mic is yours. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Brikila, right? You said if the thing is not working, walk away. What's the thing, please? I'd like to know. Thank you.
Yeah, if the relationship is not working, don't kill yourself, don't get killed. We've had a lot of stories, read a lot of story about Nigerians husband or wife that stab wife that and get sent to prison in the US, in UK, in Canada. It happens all around. Why would you have to go to the extent of killing somebody when you can walk away alive? Why would you have to stay in an abusive relationship when you can walk away and save your life and save the life of your kids? That is what I'm saying. It's not marriage is not do or die. Oh. Our culture is saying it is do or die, but ó ti lọ dálé mọ́ṣú, ó ti fẹ́yàwó kejì. All those are me, I don't buy the idea. If it's not working, don't kill yourself.
Absolutely. There's only one life to live. I agree. I think I'm not sure you got time on this question there, but I know she likes to be cheeky at times. Not time. That's okay. Let's go because of time. Hello, Fake. Good evening. How are you? And that all of has come to you. Has anybody, maybe to come abroad on the name of forced marriages or maybe good relationship with you and all these things as well. The mic is yours, Hello, Fake. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. All protocols duly observed. And thank you for this opportunity to speak. So I've actually heard a lot of opinion and the things people have to say, and I agree with most of the things that I heard, especially from Adedoni and Umi. I would just like to say some things, let me say add to what we've spoken earlier. Personally, I don't think Japa is a scam. I don't buy the idea of that name, Japa love, because love is love, and love is never a scam. That is my own belief. I just feel like this whole issue always starts from dating. People tend to ignore red flags because I do think people just change. That when people are not used to certain circumstances, when things are not working that way, when people are under pressure, they tend to there's this other side of them that people get to see that can be confusing to sometimes and all of that. And there's no reality in Nigeria. So the way marriage is there is way different from the way marriage is here. And when people come here, people are under pressure because it's a developed system and it puts a lot of Nigerians under pressure. And when you marry somebody that is adamant, that is not open to change, things might go wrong from there. I remember somebody making mention of when, for example, a man is used to the wife cooking, taking care of the children, even they both of them wake up and go to work like every day in Nigeria, like it's a norm. When you come here, it's different. And when your man is not ready to adjust to the system and forget about the culture and just try and improve and get along with the flow, it becomes an issue. And when people get here, they see that it's not like the way it is in Nigeria, where you're trying to get marriage and people are trying to tell you not to do so because it's shameful, blah blah blah. When you get here that you see that marriage is not even really a big deal like that, and you have the effort to work out, and then people are now creating narrative that oh the woman changed or the man changed. I seriously don't think that is not the issue. The issue is because when you're dating somebody, you red flags and you ignore. At the end of the day, these red flags tend to become the major problem as time goes on. That is why it's very important for people not to ignore red flags. Fine, people say nobody is flawless, but I'll tell you categorically that there is somebody for you that is perfect for you. That is just the way it is in marriage. You have to go for somebody that is 100% perfect for you just to avoid future problems because there is somebody that is just 100% perfect for your type of person. That is
Uh,
the way that's what I
Fantastic.
believe.
Okay,
So
thank you, Lufe. I'm not too
yeah,
sure there's anybody 100% perfect, but I think correctly. No one is perfect. We all make flaws, so I think it's difficult to find someone who's 100% perfect. I don't think I'm 60% perfect myself. I know about other people's mistakes.
I think you can.
100% perfect.
For
I
you,
think,
I won't say 100%
Right?
perfect
yeah,
Yeah,
for
like
you.
maybe somebody that's perfect for you, your own
For
person.
you, for your
Yeah,
oh,
person.
that's
Uh-uh.
what
You
yeah,
can't find somebody
yeah.
that is 100, or you can find somebody that is 100% perfect for you, for your type of person, the way you think, the way you say things, the way you do your things. So it's very possible, but people just ignore it after some years. They think this life becomes issue. So it doesn't matter whether you guys live in Nigeria and come from developed countries.
countries.
If yeah,
Okay.
if the marriage is going to crash, it will crash. Ignore the red. And the last thing I want to say is that um never marry a man's married. Just marry somebody that is teachable because life keeps changing. Like you need to marry somebody that is ready to grow every day, learn new things, just become a better person. Because that some people just don't care. They just want to remain. And if
Okay.
you're that, let me
Thank
just
you very much
talk
for
about
listening. You have to go. Thank you. There's a lot of speakers, so let's try and get me on board before I round up in the next 45 minutes. But yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. Just like I said, Jack, I love you. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, quickly place the message, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. So just to buttress part of what Olorife has said, uh, so I just wanted to say that before like a couple before they leave Nigeria, I feel like I just want to say that there's an adage that says, and there's a Yoruba adage to say that nǹkan tó o bá ní gbà ní something something kó má fi irun mọ́ or something or you should not take it. No, no, nǹkan tó o bá ní gbà when you're poor, I mean, when you're rich, don't collect it when you're poor, something like that. Sorry. So if because I've heard cases, Olu almost has heard cases, we don't tire. Because there are some people that will be like, they will just manage you from Nigeria. And then when they relocate abroad, they will not, everybody is making their own money or everybody is like comfortable in their own way. And then they will like, oh, I don't like the way it's not tall. And like something that you in Nigeria you will value it, and then you decide to because of the system of government here and everything, you now start saying, oh, the person is not the person does not have this from oh, I think I can get this type and this type. I feel like if you're not going to accept it from the very beginning, don't even try, like, don't even do it, like, don't even start it, don't manage anybody. Like, it's not fair on people. And then when situation um, you take to grasp the opportunity to want to treat your partner one way or the other. It's not fair. Also, we should be open to changes. I think that what couples, I don't know, I'm not married yet, but I've seen my parents grow together. I always say my parents are 30 years but yeah, 30 years, they're in the 30 years married. And I'm not the firstborn anyway. So, but then I have seen changes, I've seen them grow, I've seen them argue, I've seen them, try to work things out, be open to correction. I've seen my parents, correct each other in love and all of those things. Oh, go to therapy. See, I just discovered that Dedoli is the co-founder of my therapist.ng. I've been using that platform, so they've seen me at my worst. As in, your therapist has seen me at my worst. Dedoli, I didn't even know that you're a co-founder, but I've been using my therapist.ng, and it's really helping me. My mom will tell me to talk to someone if I don't even want to go to her. So, healthy relationship, what you cannot take as a person. Abi, don't wait for maybe when you are rich. Abi, I don't know how to put that date. But thank you so much. I've really learned a lot from
Thank
you
you,
guys.
Fade.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Thank you, Friday. Thank you, everybody, for joining the space as well. This has been an amazing space so far. A lot of different takes, and of course, the key question is Jackpot Love a scam? I'm just going to one of the hashtag, and somebody said Jackpot Love used together could result into a scam because the love was to Jackpot. So when the Jackpot is achieved, the contract is over. Okay, okay, that's another one. So, guys, the space this evening was sponsored by Liberty Health Network, everything the UK, and Willis Kitchen. If you're going to do the you can handle of this for brands. So please, guys, let's follow them. Let's put that description on. So with Neighbor Tech is an amazing tech company. I work with them myself. So if you know study business analysis, project management, UI, UX, agile, cost, master, you name it. Able Tech is a good for you. Cash Network, if you want to send money to about 40 different countries in the world, Cash Network is a way of working. Instant transfer they do. Because if you want to pay your school fees in the UK, US, Canada, Cash Network the market for good. Let's keep on because of time. I've got a couple of us that doing quickly. You said Jack business. I said, okay, I want to come to the UK, Nigeria, for a couple of months to go to Japan and stuff. What kind of quality you look in a partner? Listen, everything we planned from day one. This is how it's going to go. You know that I'm going to be a student. You're going to be working full time. I need your support because once you get in abroad, the visa system is different. The rules of law are different. I'm limited to what I can do. So for example, the student, I'm only working 20 hours a week. That means that I can, for example, maybe £10 and stuff. So in a month, I can earn more than £800 in a month. And half of is £500. So there's no way I can afford to pay the school rent and the school fees for the rent as well in a normal way. So the best thing for me to do is okay, I'm gonna be dependent on my partner. We plan all these things together to go to the UK, to go to better our life. And it's a temporary stuff whereby by the time you finish your master's, you get a degree, okay, you're gonna get better job, you have a full-time job and stuff. So what kind of qualities can you look for your partner to reassure you that this person is gonna keep to their word when we get to abroad? Make it
Okay, thank you very much. Before I answer my question, Fluffy Fatty, you don't know how excited I am that you're using the Material Engine platform. I'm not going to promote this here. That would be very rude. I'm just very grateful that you're using the platform and you're finding it very um effective. And I do hope that that will continue to work for you. Now, this question, I need us to understand one thing, right? I'm going to be very blatant with this truth. I don't want us to be politically correct on this platform. Get me? I'm very condescending to the fact that I'm getting DM already. I'm already getting stories like you guys are not telling the truth, you're not being realistic, da, 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 da. And I get it. I get it. So I'm going to hit the nail on the head. You get me? What is happening now is not different from what used to happen. I don't want you guys to be fooled though. Let's be realistic with ourselves. This whole Japa wave and the things that we are uncovering is not exclusive to this generation. I know because I have family members that have become naturalized in the UK, and I know the family issues that my dad was settling between the family, between my aunties, back then. You get me? These issues have always been, they had always been there. Oh, this person is not doing that, this and that. So the same issues have been recycled across generations. And let me be realistic with you. If I hear on this space right now, jaded or cynical about love or Japa or whatever, I promise you there's nothing anybody can say that can change your mind. Because the ability to embrace a certain truth is not premised on what is said. It is premised on your mental posture. I cannot plant the right words in your heart, but I can say them. You get me? It is your responsibility to be open minded. And that's the first point I'm going to raise. We are in a generation of very opinionated people. We are very opinionated. Everybody is right, nobody wants to listen. You get me? So I'm always going to say this. If you want to know the number one red flag in your relationship, someone that you're considering to move into the UK or wherever, I need you never to compromise your stability. I think you can take it to bank and deposit it. I mean that figuratively, but you get my point. There is nothing as hard as being someone that is not teachable. Someone that cannot objectively admit that they are wrong. You are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. There is no two ways about it. I made a tweet 2 days ago about how many people are weaponizing their trauma. Oh yes, it's because I've been raised when I was younger. I never saw my mother disrespect my father. Even when my father slapped her, nothing happened. You even kneel down and say thank you. Go and marry your mother. God due respect to you. But no, disrespectfully. Weaponizing your trauma is premise to believe that you're still very short-sighted, and you have no business in life. Oh, if you don't have money, they want you to expect respect. Eh? Money is for respect. Money for handbag to brown. So when we get to UK, I go do my own back. They make some money. What I'm making my money, I'm making the same money. Who's celebrity? We're a fool. And the capital of food is where we reside. So these are traumatic ideations that you have already lost, and you are expected to enjoy marriage. I promise you, you are going to crumble. There's no two ways. I'm saying this because you wanted, well, this is it. There is no edging around it. You want to be teachable. You want to sit down and analyze yourself. Let me tell you something. I've had people come to my DMs and say, I don't agree with what you said. I don't agree with what you said. And they give me a reason like, this is why I don't agree with it. Philosophically, this is not correct. It sounds politically correct because I think you have a few followers. But like, if you don't have followers, take you down limb by limb. You cap. Promise you, those are the kind of followers I like the most. I'm not saying they are correct sometimes, but I'm able to listen to their perspective. And there's always a thread of objectivity in what they are saying. Or somebody else is going to say, oh, stop the dirty mouth. How dare you come and tell me that I'm not correct? If you are too triggered every time you're corrected, you have no business getting married. Marriage is not conquer your ego. Let me tell you, in a marriage, you can only be married to your partner, your ego or your partner. If you are putting your ego over your partner, one of you is going to leave marriage, and most of your partner, you will stay married to your ego. So I don't have much to say, but strategically open your eyes, be discerning, teachability, the ability to listen to each other. I tell people, I say, when you say things like, oh, when I'm angry, I don't have sense. Your boss should call you at that moment when you are angry. Would you pick that call with that same tone? Would you? Everybody has a cognitive regulator in their brains. I'm not saying that some people don't have anger dysfunctions, but I'm saying realistically, there is a certain regulator in our brains that helps us to curtail excesses. So my point here is simple. There is always going to be enough red flags. Teachability is going to be something you need to watch out for. Most importantly, I beg of you, and this is something everybody here has said, and this is what I'm going to round off with. Please don't be too big to submit yourself to therapy. And I'm going to round off with this very interesting story. I was shocked. This is someone that used to abuse their partner, and the wife was the only one doing therapy. And she'll tell me, doing, see, I'm going to leave, I'm going to leave. Or you're just telling me stories. I've been working on myself, I've done everything you've asked me to do, but nobody's listening to my side of the story. You see, if this guy kills me, you will say I should not report him. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I said, please send me your husband's number and let's talk. I told him it is not a therapy session. You cannot arrest me for this. This is completely off the record. And I told him some hard truths. You know what he said? He said, okay, no problem. I hear you. I agree. Can you give me 3 months to work on myself? If I can ask 3 months to work on myself, I will. Realistically, I love this woman. I just don't know how to express it to her. He said, even if he just like, no, maybe it's his spirit. I don't know. I just want to push her away. But I deeply love her. And the work. I cried 3 days ago because I saw before my very eyes this couple moving from a place of terrible issues to a very better thing. So I round up by saying, don't take away the place of accountability. Don't take away the place of opening your mouth. Don't open your mouth when it has been done and everybody has scattered in the public. Make sure you are talking. If you are blinded by love, other people are not blinded by love. So yes, there are certain things that you don't notice because you are desperate, you just want this relationship and you cannot see these red flags. They are looking like green to you. Bring them up to unbiased people that can tell you hard truths and can make you feel whether to continue or not. Anything your eyes now continue, you should be held responsible for it. So please let us move accordingly. And finally, I know I've mentioned this, but for those who rejoined the meeting, I'm still going to insist. Things are not nothing is as it should be, and the world is moving on its head. So not all of us will enjoy very realistic and mature relationships where everybody understands it. If your partner is always saying, I cannot remember, it's my word against yours, document. And documents can never lie. Your brain can glitch. Documentation can never glitch. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I started doing. Listen, don't be too deep to submit to your yourself to therapy. Listen, that's amazing, amazing stuff you said all in there. And of course, you nailed it on the head itself. Because maybe we like it or not, a lot of people are not being honest. One of the reasons why for this is that let's look ourselves in the eyes and be honest with ourselves. Where do we get it wrong? How do we get it? And of course, when there's problems, there's always solutions. And of course, this kind of space, enlighten ourselves, educate ourselves, find a way forward. All these unnecessary situations are going on. These days, some people are even breaking up from some of the little threatened discussions that people can just resolve. But we find a way around it. Anybody you want to give? Thank you very much indeed for your submission as well. That's only quickly, please.
Thank you so much, Roma. I want to just say something, one possible solution. One thing I always tell people is forgive, practice forgiveness. So much stuff has happened. When I come to Twitter and even in the little people that I kind of mentor and I speak to, you have to learn to forgive your spouse. You know, yes, you missed the red flag. Yes, you missed the communication. Yes, you missed the building and having a proper plan before you went into marriage. Now you're in this marriage. This is these people that that feel like they're stuck in marriage. And then we talk about how not to pass the red flag. Now people are already in there and they don't know what to do. Practice forgiveness. Just forgive. Because when you hold someone in your heart, and you're not able to like you rest upon all the bad that the person has done to you. You're not able to see clearly. See, the forgiveness is not for him or her. The forgiveness is for you. So you can have clarity of mind and how to handle the issue better. Yes, we know that we, we practice a cycle. What's the bad thing? Blah, blah, blah. Now we're talking about therapy, which is very new to us in Nigeria. But thank God for doing it. Thank God for other therapists that are actually like championing the movement. Speak to someone. Because when you forgive a situation, right, you're not able to have that clarity of mind and spirit to figure out how to address the issue. You're not handling the issue from a place of anger. You're handling the issue from a place of clarity where you can see it clearly and you can communicate effectively. Communication, when done when you're angry, is so toxic. That's why we see a lot of people trying to pass their messages across when they're angry, turns into a big fight, turns into something even crazier. Because now you do something that is so painful that this person can't forgive you for what you just said. So we both have to stop the chaos, rest on the chaos, forgive each other for yourself, not because of them, but for you. So you forgive, you feel this heavy weight just release off of your body, and you're able to now process issues the way they are. You're able to see white and black. You're able to now decide whether you want to document, whether you want to go for therapy, whether you want to whether you want to have a bank account together, whether you want to go for financial training, whether you want to do this, whether you want to do that. But first and foremost, because I see, when I look at all of the stories that we see on the TV, all of the toxic stuff that is happening, keep in mind that there are two people. Marriages is the people that are coming from two different backgrounds, two different, ways that they've been raised, two coming from what they've known half of their life or more, now into this union. Come on, man. And if you're Nigerian, oh my God, you really have childhood trauma. You can't even gaslight us here. It's going to be maybe 1% of people that went through the Nigerian system. People have childhood trauma. We were traumatized growing up. Our parents were traumatized. Their parents traumatized them. The circle of abuse. So we need to forgive ourselves for the abuse that we were. So we don't do this stuff to our children. We're talking about ourselves. We forgot the fact that there are children involved in this conversation. All of this talking we've been talking for the past couple of hours is about ourselves. But how about the children that are seeing the things that are happening. They are seeing mommy cry, see daddy cry, see all this confusion happening in their homes. Think about them. Now you're raising them also you. So we're not even trying to break the circle of abuse. So I just ask you today to find in your heart to forgive yourself, forgive your spouse, give them that grace of mercy, wipe the slate away. Forget about all that has happened. Start a new slate. You want to fight for it. And if you're not fighting for it, hey, I mean, it is what it is. But, just practice forgiveness. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Sister. Your submission once again, just like you said, forgive yourself, and of course, you need to speak to someone as well. And that's one of those we have like someone like a psychotherapist, did on your journey, this kind of things. And other psychotherapists as well, speak to someone, reach out and express yourself. Actually, this kind of space is is what healing for a lot of people. Maybe look into your marriage, relationship, and say, okay, well, where did we get here? How did we get here? How did it go wrong? How can we make it better? Because I'm going to look at this place with how people resolve their differences in a more peaceful and if it hasn't can work, then people can call it today because there's only one last one. Thank you so much. Aubrey, Aubrey, the mic is yours. Go ahead, please. Aubrey, Aubrey, you have to
Hi,
miss your mic. Go ahead, yeah, please.
can you hear me?
We can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you everyone. I mean, I've been here, I've been here, here, especially from the married people. I'm not married. So the thing is, I'd like it if more married people would come and speak on these issues. And also, along with those people, you always put their scripture because it's really tiring coming on the timeline every day and it's WhatsApp screenshot of someone talking about one thing, and you know, I was thinking maybe some of them would come and, and talk about what really happened to them. Because I mean, I'm not in doubt or I'm not invalidating anything anyone has said to you, but I'm just saying that it'd be nice to hear from maybe the two of them. I'm not saying this because it's all men complaining. Even if it was a woman complaining, I'd say we should hear from the man because it's not good. Every time I come on the timeline, Nigerian women, I'm a Nigerian woman, and I'm just thinking, I mean, where is this coming from? Why is it that time to come on the timeline? People are now saying, oh, don't go and bring a girl from Nigeria, don't do this, don't do that. It's just a lot. So, but
Okay.
sorry,
Thank you,
yeah,
Aubrey. Yeah, it's okay. It's
it's
okay.
been really nice listening, and thank you to the I wanted to talk about. She's actually said so many of it, and yeah, so I don't have anything else to say, but I'd like it for more people with good messages. You guys should please come on and talk about it. So it will not just be every day some bad news. It's too much. Thank you.
Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you. Thank you. I know Peter Kodepi told me the other. It has nothing to do with Nigeria women. People like it or not. I think some of the realities that happen on the basis. A lot of people are depressed. Yes, some men and some men, maybe majority of men, because people planting and then the partner let them down. Of course, the limits of what myself. Sometimes this just let them lawyers, we can help their situation and find a way forward. Because the truth is, they have to pay some institution fees, they've been to register a uni, they can work, UKVI, out of Europe. UKVI has not contacted them that they have 60 days in the UK about three cases. Even today happen. All I can do from my point of view, listen, reach out to the lawyer, they can help. To make matters even more harder, lawyers have to pay for consultation fees as well. So it's not easy process. Yes, I agree with you that we should talk more positive. But these are people's realities that about it, how to get help to resolve their situation. I'm glad that, you can also look for to someone like Sister Judy Ajayi, who's also a mentor to a lot of young women like you. So, like, also, from my out there. There's a lot of good like marriage this in the UK. There's amazing couples that are married. People also come together from Nigeria. Then, of course, we have the minority of people who work. There's no way we can stand this ourselves. People have come together years and work. A lot of them. There's also a lot of good marriage for people who have also come from Nigeria. There's nothing against Nigerian women. We love our sisters, we respect them, we adore them, we pamper them. So there's never going to be anything against Nigerian women. But sometimes let's call it a spade. Something let's say it has nothing to do. There's good and bad in everything. There's also a lot of Nigerian men who listen, worst of the worst. I think I did it a couple of days ago. Some of these men are that maybe I don't like to use that kind of word, but a lot of our men also have to do better. In fact, in the process of also don't have a space for Nigerian men in diaspora and a few we see about that Nigerian colleagues in diaspora. It's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Because sometimes we have to look inward as Nigerian men. What are we doing wrong? How do we do better? Is it some of our cultures? I mean, I've seen Nigerian men. There's a gentleman I had in Canada. He doesn't know how to stuff, wife cook, she can work. And ordinary for you, you only one big problem. You change pampers. There's no family in that world. You cook, you clean. You can expect a woman to be clean everything. So we too as individuals as Nigerians, so we look at the issues. I agree with you as well. There's nothing against Nigerian women. It's some you know more bridge, but yeah, I agree with you. Bridge. Thank you for your submission. We keep moving because of this. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sam, good evening, Mr. Sam. Sam Walt, the mic is yours. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Oluomo there, I greet you. Evening. Uh, everybody else, I greet everybody. And I see some of my friends here. Duke of if I greet you, T-boy. Yeah, a lot of people have spoken and have made a lot of sense. And the topic, I was really confused when I saw is Japa love is calm. And I never knew that on the other side, it's really a big deal. Like people living their country, husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend, they want to be a couple to migrate into another country. At the end of the day, they will split, which means there have been a particular agenda between one of the both. You understand? Like they don't really love the other person. There's a negative agenda. Like when we get there, we will split, even though we are going to use 3 or 4 years. I'm single, but there was a time I got entangled with a lady online, an Igbo lady. She's from the US, Minnesota, to be precise. I liked her, she liked me. You understand? But few of my friends who know my religious view, you understand? I'm a deist. Even though I was born and bred up in deeper life. You understand? The lady was like, Sam, like, we're almost taking it serious, 3 to 4 months. But that thing, religion, was our problem. You understand? If I was really going to scam her, like for seriously, I would pretend. You understand? And a lot of people that do that. I even had some terrible advice from friends like Sam, play on now. Like, what's this? At the end of the day, I won't be happy. So I'm really sure that we need to tell ourselves the truth. You understand? A lot of people are falling victim into this. You understand? At the end of the day, they get cycle. Some of them end up terribly. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the problem here is, what's his name? Is it Milkshake? He was saying it. You need to have a partner that both of you are in the same boat, are in the same boat. You want the same thing for each other. You love and respect yourself. Nobody is beyond correction. There's a story a lady posted. There was it 2 or 3 days ago. This both of them left the rest together. They were living in Nigeria together. They started everything in Nigeria together. The lady was earning well, and this guy brought the issue of let's travel. The lady said, "Fine, no problem," and they traveled. When they got to the United Kingdom, within 2 years, the guy divorced her. Why? For what reason? The guy said he couldn't control her. And when she had her money, she was misbehaving. Just Fine, look at that. So you're having a negative intention from the onset. This is why a lot of us we need to be transparent. And there was something he said, I held it. Even our psychologist or therapist there said something. You need to see commitment in relationship is a big deal. It's very easy for you to get into any relationship or whatsoever. You need to be committed. You understand? Sacrifice is a big deal. Just like the guy said, they requested for 15 naira. There is no big deal about that. If you want to see it as a red flag, fine. Then you let go. But you see, this issue of commitment is a big deal. Transparency. A lot of us are not transparent at all. So we don't need the relationship in the first place. You understand? Maybe I think a lot of people just get compelled into marriage because of what society will say. Who really gives an about that? You need to be happy. That is very, very fundamental. A lot of people just think marriage is just, two people coming together will sort it out, it will change how. What do you mean by it will change? You want to like now, I believe I've found my truth. You want to change my religious, it's not possible. You understand? We just need to tell ourselves the truth. That is why I said this your topic is deep. Like even though it's very short, it's very deep. You understand? It affects both home and abroad because two people are not in the same boat. And you cannot sail, you cannot excel. It's like two captains controlling the ship, two ship at the same time. You will surely not excel. There's no two ways about that. So we just need to be transparent. Tell ourselves the
Thank
truth.
you.
No partner is beyond correction. Thank you.
Absolutely. No partner is being correct. In life, and then on every day. Life is abundant every day. So thank you, Sam, for your submission. Dr. Prince, thank you very much.
Good evening, guys. All protocol details are observed. I have one question for Tony, which I would say I'll ask later. But before that, I just want to say that yeah, marriage works. Japa marriage is not a scam. Love is not a scam. Marriage that will break in Nigeria will still break in the UK or in the US or whatever. It's with that the problem is many people get married to zebras. They're looking for us to marry. So yeah, you think this guy is a zebra, so when I get married to him, I will just pet him. Or after some baby washing up, he will return to it because you're in for a shock of your life. He or she is not going to change. And again, there's one mistake. All of us have been dropping pieces here. Nobody have mentioned one very important thing in marriage. Because me, I always like sounding like the bad guy. It's called sexual compatibility. I always remember what one mechanic told me in Nigeria. I'll never forget. He said, "Marry who your penis is right for." That was advice for me. You need to remember that at the end of the day, that's what counts. Because when in marriage, you someone that you're very attracted to, you get tired sometimes. You marry someone that you are like forcing yourself. And it's the truth, someone that could be very attractive. A man could be tall, everything, but something about him just turns you off. Same thing with the woman. But because of societal pressure, because of what people will say, you go ahead and marry that person. That marriage is bound to fail. You not come to the UK where see handsome and beautiful faces everywhere. Then you think you will not lose focus. And again, love is not enough to keep a marriage. No, love is not enough. You can still be 100% in love and the marriage will fail. Both of you will love it, but it will fail. So it has to be like a lot of work from both parties for that marriage to start. Now, my question to Adidon is this. You mentioned about your husband giving by his salary to you. That is just, it has been bothering me since you mentioned it. I don't know why. Because I don't know if it's reversed. Imagine me coming here to say my wife is carrying over my salary to me. I don't know how it will look, how it will sound to you. Because as you're saying it, everybody will say, yeah, 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 yeah. But if a man comes up and say, I make my wife, okay, let's assume it's not like the first thing. My wife hands over my salary and says it proud, you know. optics is gonna people are gonna read beneath it. We're gonna start having subtopics on it. So how about my question is this, is it not better to have like a joint account where both of you have signatories to it, both of you have access to the account? Instead of at the end of the day, I'll collect my small 800 pounds as I receive my salary, I will hand it over to this one. Like how? Why? So I don't understand. I don't understand that part. I want you to throw light on that. If professionally you would advise like a joint account, or you still believe handing over your salary to your spouse is cute. I don't think it is. But I would like you to say something about it. Then
Yeah.
I think yeah, I think basically that's much I want to say. Marry somebody that you're attracted to sexually, because all the smart people are promote to give us enough advice. I don't have anything else to say. If you don't see her and you want to run into her, if you don't see him and you want to run into him, I bet you he's not the one for you. I bet you she's not the one for you. Forget about every other thing. Even if you are a religious person, even if you are second to Kumuyi, make sure when you're in the office you're taking over state. That marriage will work. When you're in the office you're taking office. Because if anything lesser than that, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you will see that picture later and you'll get confused. Yeah. Many of us have been there, so that's all I was saying. Thank you, and
Oh,
God bless you.
Dr. Frank, Dr. Frank, I don't know where you're carrying to go this week. Started with the marketing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that question. Now, number one, remember I started by saying it's very erroneous to take whatever I say in my marriage as a truth you should apply to yours. You know, I mentioned earlier, I'm going to stand on that. We all are going to hear the things we hear in this space based on our personal biases. What I say is what I'm going to take accountability for. How you heard it is how your mind has chosen to interpret it. I don't have control over that. You understand me now? The cuteness of my statement is not what is up for debate. You get me? There's a reason why I don't use my personal story as a premise to teach Twitter people, because that would be very myopic of me. What is source for the good is not source for the marriage if marriage is concerned. I tell people marriage is the one place where two wrongs can make it right. It's only in marriage where two wrongs can make it right. Where both of you can understand that we are two imperfect people and we are going to do what is working for us, even if it looks senseless to the world. You get me? And we are leveraging on that to make things work. There is a backstory to why my husband. You think a full grown man will give a wife a woman is money? Ah, he's not that now. My husband is one man that I know that he will not be daft. Never. He was not daft yesterday, he will not be daft tomorrow. But evidentially, he has seen that know I know how to manage this money thing better. Back then when we were dating, and now I'm giving you the backstory because you see all these now takes online. Yes, but I can never do it. And everybody will say, hey, why can't you do that? That's too wrong. It doesn't make any sense. And for me, nobody's asking, what is the backstory? The backstory for everything anybody says is working for them. The context is back then when we were dating, even as undergraduates in school, you buy me things, and my first question was, how much did it cost? We are both students. How much did it cost? Ah, don't worry, baby, I was saving. I was saving. Just say 50. You could have used this to do this and that and that. I'm not saying everybody should think like that, but I know my dad struggled to send us money in school. So I had to start doing every job. So you have to send me money again. So Spanish is the same language. More than I know I understand money to be core. My body will be shaking if I see someone spending money anyhow. So I'm always excessively careful. And that's you have to play to your strength. There are areas in my marriage where my husband is stronger. So there's some things that if anybody says, oh, question. I'm a guy. You don't ask for anything. You can go and meet my husband. Better person. When it comes to money, now, my wife. So, and I make sure from my account that all the bills go, all the bills go from my account. But that's by the way, honestly. I don't want us to debate the context of what I have said. I was only giving an example that it might sound unreasonable to you, but your own unreasonable is what you should embrace. If your unreasonable is working for the both of you, it does not matter what's politically correct. Are you marrying political correctness? So what if the one why would I be giving you all the money? If your wife knows that you're a better bookkeeper, then so be it. Yes, we live in a world where everything is sensational. And I insist that is why I will never bring my story out because the same people that are telling me, oh, they don't need your such a wise person, they will tear me apart. And I'll look at the fool because I will never be able to explain why the context. How can my parents before mine? There's always going to be context. So don't take my word for it. It works for me, it will work for you, it might not work for you. But again, if you are both looking out for each other's best interest and you are stewards of each other's development, many of us are not stewards, that's the problem. We are all eager to come up with all the things that cannot work. That is why it looks like all the points that are being raised to make things work. And just to, I mean, you guys, what is the truth? Is the truth that God will make nobody marry? Okay, now let's talk about marry. There's no end to this conversation. I love what I don't know what Simon, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Sam. Sam said it. There is no complete response to this question. And all of them, I know you to know that we can be on this basis from now to tomorrow. People will still live this basis back with the mindset. So I'm going to round up by saying this. Again, I insist, be teachable. Be teachable. You cannot go wrong with that. Okay, oh, if this is why is it not working for me? Okay, it's not working because of so and so reasons. Fine. What can work for you? Don't do away with the baby with the bath water. If something is working for somebody else, then I want to know how can we translate my own experience. So I round up by saying, please, to all that was concerned and to anyone who is listening, my marriage is not the blueprint. All I know within marriage is my 8 years of experience, which is very small compared to others. So I say that I have been able to condense 8 years of bliss, 8 years of bliss into a few seconds. There's so many things I cannot cover here. I know what I'm experiencing. It is not something that I come here and start digesting and start digesting. You get me? So you sit with your partner and decide, make a clean sweep, which is I want to know what is our own unreasonable that if you got here, you guys are very smart, but we both know it's working for us. Do it and shut your mouth. If anybody asks you advice personally, you can ask them, this is what's working. No, I'm not asking you to do it, but find your unreasonable. How can you find your unreasonable? Sit down and talk. Don't be sensational. Let your emotional intelligence guide your conversations. Be good listeners. Don't come with this is my point of view and that's fine. And don't do anything in the face of lack of objectivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Not very much indeed. What they're doing. Listen, do what works for you. Everybody's situation is different. So yeah, you really guys do what works for you. But yeah. Okay, so we got one of our guest speakers join us. I'm just gonna give the mic quickly to one of your guest speakers, then we'll go to one of my guest speakers quickly. Oh, no, yeah. Is yours.
Good day, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You can let you go ahead.
Yeah,
So.
I I really appreciate this space and it's so wonderful. I've heard I've learned from a lot of people that have had wonderful experience in their marriage. But for me, I will go straight to the point. So now, which you have been able to do. Because when I got to the UK and I came by myself, I'm seeing I I've heard different story of people that actually brought people into the UK and because God can be love and it happens. I've heard different stories. So I came all by myself because when I was home, I was in a relationship that was actually working and broke up because the person was actually older than me. And I understand that so well. the relationship. You get so, or later on, started talking to me, tell like, okay, ah, it doesn't matter for me. I don't have that argument. Like, but the point I want to put out is when I got here, I met him and we started talking. The person actually has shown affection. The person did well, very well to me, and I saw it to be like, okay, this is the person I actually want to settle with, and this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life. So that when my brother came into the UK, we both went to the airport together to pick my brother, and I felt like, oh, this is it. Well, this is the relationship. This is it. This is fine. But it happened that it wasn't something came up, and everything just changed. He started blocking me to do some certain things, not knowing that I was just a side person.
Odun, your network? Odun?
It came in.
Okay, okay. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Odun is just, I think this is just, Odun, I don't know if you could just request again. I don't know. Let me just try. I think the call is cutting off of the speaker section. I don't know if you could just request again for the mic and put the mic back to you. Jose. Yeah, okay, quickly, go ahead, please. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, a call came into my phone. I had
Yeah,
to answer.
yeah,
So
go
what
ahead.
I want to say is that this person, I actually don't know how to act. We got to date and I felt like, okay, this is working out. So I want to put it out to the moderator, people that are talking about therapy and everything. Would you say I've done anything wrong to this person for the person to treat me bad this way? You get what I'm trying to say? We've seen so many men are going through these things and they are not speaking up due to the fact that they'll say I'm a man. I shouldn't say this. I should be strong. I should be that. Men are going, men are being scammed for love. It's happening. I've seen it's happening. You get, so we shouldn't say we are not even talking about the main topic yet. The one that have been on this podcast. We are not talking about it. Men are being scammed. And when I was growing up, yes, my neighbor, I want to share this story because the man has died now. God bless his soul. There's this my neighbor. I love their marriage so much when I first met them. I was in secondary school then. But later on the long run, the man was doing fine. On the long run, this woman started having extra affair. I think probably the man is not satisfying the wife well or something. And each time I come back from school in the afternoon, I usually stay in my dad's car because then I I was tall and I always want to drive my dad's car. So sometimes I'll just sit down inside my dad's car trying to start it. So I'll just use the rear mirror to see that there's another man entering into this woman, their apartment, and they are having this affair. All of a sudden, the man got to know. The man started beating the wife. That why would you now be having extra marital? The man still loved the wife, and some things, violence started happening. I'm not saying the man did the right thing actually, but the woman caught HIV outside, affected the man. The man didn't know. The man died because of that event. You get what I'm trying to say? These things are happening to men. We shouldn't say that it's not happening to men. This thing is really, really happening. And we shouldn't be painting picture of good marriages and everything. Any man or woman that wants to go into marriage, take it more spiritual. Speak to God. God should give me my home. Wicked people are flying everywhere. They will give you love, dovey, and everything while you're having the relationship. And when the whole thing you take them to the altar, you exchange ring, you exchange vow, and you now see the devil that they are in. I'm not saying marriage is bad. My parents had a wonderful one, and they are still together for over 30 years now. And I really appreciate God for it. I have a good home. They are together and they are living fine and they are going to live happily ever after. But for me, I've not really had that really, really good experience with my relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Odu. Thank you for sharing your story as well. And I'm glad you could share that part. From the way you speak, I could see that you're very, very hot. So I'm more than happy if you know have a session with Madam Didonya Ajayi. I don't know if that sounds good to you at all, my brother. You know, because sometimes it's also good to heal as well. Maybe maybe the anger, the disappointment, whatever it is, to sort of cross that bridge, so that someone is going to come in your life and you probably come across and say, listen, this person is not like your ex. Maybe, of course, you put a lot of effort, you believe this is exactly what it is, only for you to find out that this person actually was even double dating. You understand? She was basically mixing up Bono with Egusi for it as well. So I don't know if you're more than happy to connect with Study doing Ajayi, to have a session with her. I'm more than happy to say that I'm my brother. So, like you said, men need to start speaking up. Listen, a lot of I did a tweet that went viral the other day when I did a tweet. Listen, I have almost about 20 men in my DM who are depressed. SK reached out to one of the gentlemen the other day. This guy is basically down. He doesn't know way forward. He's basically ready to go back to Nigeria. UKVI just contacted him, giving him 60 days. But the plan was, he's coming with his partner, spent millions of naira to bring himself and the partner here. The partner only got here to help him to pay school fees. What the plan? She refused. She's working full time. Only for him to find out that she's actually moved in with another man in less than a couple of months being in the UK. Now the guy can't pay the school fees. He can only work 20 hours a week. UKVI has kicked him. The school registered him already because he can't pay tuition fees. UKVI has contacted them to leave the country. It's like the guy doesn't even know what to do. It's like, in fact, is I mean, depressed is even a small word to use. A grown ass man crying on the phone. So of course, like you said, men are getting scammed too. As much as we could be doing goody goody and stuff, let's also call a spade a spade. These things are happening. It's not maybe because it's not happening to people you don't know, doesn't mean it's not happening. It's happening. It's unfortunate some of them are not bold enough to come and talk on the space. It's happening. I have more than 20 men that I know in this UK that have written that they're depressed. Not just depressed. They've given up to understand, okay, they pack their bags and go back to Nigeria. This was not the plan they had. All because they were scammed with love. But like I said, it's not my place to tell who's right, who's wrong, who's perfect. We're having this conversation so that people can learn as well. So my brother Odun, if you're more than happy to speak to study doing for some therapy session and stuff. I really hope that helps, understand. And like I said, I also the bill last. Don't worry about our speak study doing. She the man looks after us anyway in our community. So, but therapist has to be paid. But we saw something out anyway
Sorry,
because I think
can I just say something here to him? I
yeah
don't
yeah
know.
yeah yeah yeah. Go ahead, man.
Okay. I'm going to be very honest with you. My heart goes out to you. Like when you were talking, I'm glad Olom of Derby picked on it, but the hurt in your voice is palpable. And I'm sorry. I'm deeply sorry about what you've had to go through. I don't know the full extent of it. I mean, we only have had 3 minutes to hear from you. And I know that it is much more than what you've said. And I'm sorry. Only God knows how you're currently feeling, and nothing anybody can say here. You get me? Nothing anybody can say here can comfort you because we don't understand it. You are the only one that knows how you're feeling. But I want you to know one thing for sure. Yeah? Thankfully, you have your parents as a good example. I want you to know that within the context of this issue, right, you can definitely heal from these wounds, yeah, without changing your narrative. I know that there is so much that has been said, but I don't want your pain to masquerade as a blocker to hear what has been said. It's possible to have the mindset that, oh, they're not saying the truth, because the truth for you is not the truth for others. And the truth for others is not the truth for you. Imagine all of us here on this with very specific stories. Let me tell you, I hear things that humble me every day. So I know that nobody here can come as an authority to say something that will specifically affect everybody. But what we are saying is simple. It's a generic principle. And the principle is yes, Broken people are bound, and I mentioned that from the very beginning. And whatever happened, I don't know, because I've not heard the side of the story of your partner. But the context here is simple. Many people are falling victim of to the whims and caprices of broken people every day. Just the same way we have cheats, we have people who are horrible in different sectors of the society. It will always exist in marriage as well. Do we throw the baby away with the bathwater? No. You understand me now? And I always give this example. Okay, I was admitted in the hospital for food poisoning. Yeah? Does that make food a bad thing? Absolutely not. You get me? Sometimes we eat things that are very bad for our health. Bacteria influenced food is going to hurt my stomach. It does not mean every food I eat is going to do me like that. So we can come here and talk about how all the men are depressed, people are terrible, women are evil. It is going to be your truth, and it is true for you. Does it make it the ultimate truth? No. And it is your responsibility to decide. You see, let me tell you, healing is hard work, because your mind will stubbornly and resolutely hold on to toxic narratives. It is easier, it is comforting to hold on to very sensational ideals, because you find comfort in those things. You don't trust woman. Use 24 hours to fear women. Don't you see how it sounds? It makes endorphin rush to your system. I understand it when I see these tweets flying around on the TL. It is good. It makes for good stories. But in this same UK, sir, I have heard people say, if not for my wife, my life will done by me by now. If not for my husband, see, we all are arbiters of the truth that defines us. You get me? I promise you, there is healing on the horizon. I'm going to need you to understand that your story is valid, your pain is valid. But I don't want us to rubbish everything that has been said, because certain people are here that have gotten one or two things that will help them. I don't want us to demoralize them and say, oh, nobody's saying the truth, because the truth is absolutely contextual. You get me? So please, please, let us be, what's the word I'm going to use now? Let us stay objective. Let's not allow emotions to cloud our reasoning here. We are all little parts of the society, and at the end of the day, children on the inside of us need healing. Our job is to collectively look out for one another. I hope I told one of my clients yesterday, I said I do each session like it will be my last. They said that Dedoyin was the last before Dedoyin died though, she did therapy with me, and it was like it was as if she knew she would die. She poured herself into that therapy session. And that is the stuff. If you apply that mindset to everything you're doing, including even the relationships outside of marriage, I promise you, we are going to have heaven on earth. Imagine if you're thinking, I'm going to treat these relationships in my life like it is the last relationship I'm going to sustain. Everything within you will yearn to heal so that you can be a best version of yourself for that relationship. Does this make it easy? No, no, no. Nobody is saying it is going to be easy. Please, I beg you, let us decide. It's a decision, a concerted decision, that whenever they're talking about Japa love being a scam, you are confident that you are the exception. As a man or a woman, I have vowed, I wrote it somewhere, I'm going to bring my husband peace. Period. I don't care what he does. My job is to bring him peace. Let it be between me and God that I did my part. Period. You get me? So my action is not premised on his action. It is about who I am. So who are you before the action happened? And that's something that we need to all take as a take home going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Odun Jire, are you happy with that? Odun, are you
Yeah,
much better?
I'm still here. I'm still here. I've heard everything. Like
Okay.
I've heard everything. Um,
Okay, my brother,
yeah,
we with you. Don't worry, you're in a good place. You understand? Listen, I will reach out to you as well,
yeah,
and I definitely want you to connect with Sister. They're doing. You guys can have a chat one on one, and then take it from there. There's a lot that has to be done behind this space itself, and we will get it right. You understand? And of course, in our community, so we get plenty good sisters.
yeah.
So, but
I know,
we'll
I
talk
know,
about that one,
I know.
and we'll
Give
talk about that one
myself
once
some
about the
time
time.
before
May
I
you
do
heal
that.
first.
I'll
May you heal first, and then we'll talk about that, my brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Thank
All right.
you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving quickly. Nostene, we have to go. Please, the mic is yours. Nostene, quickly, please. We have to go. Please, Nostene. Good evening. The mic is yours. Nostene.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone.
First of all, this topic is Japa love is scam. Well, to my own understanding, I don't really know what Japa love is, but I think we're coming from the sense of asking if people who are married move over from Nigeria in quotes to the to abroad, or partners bringing the other partner abroad, if it's a scam, in my own understanding. So I'm just going to be saying, I think in my own sense, I don't think love is enough to hold a relationship or marriage. There are several things involved. And then here, I think what usually happens is 70% of these issues, sometimes or most times, always come from the women's side. And I think this is because of power and toxicity. Because most women, coming from where our country, we don't have the type of power that we're exposed to here. So most women, when they move over from Nigeria, coming into this place, and you know that, oh, I'm the Lord here, anything I say goes, they tend to change just because we have, you know, that power corrupts power, and then absolute power, in other words, corrupts absolutely. And then I think partners need to learn how to talk to one another, because most times these issues are caused by build up. You can see that you're having issues, little issues, and you're just ignoring it. One day you're going to get to your breaking point. And then you see marriages of 10 years, 15 years, they're breaking up, and you're like, what's going on? And you see that they can't even pinpoint what the actual issue is. And this is because they've been ignoring these things, and then they've come to that breaking point where those things that they've endured is now like is making them go crazy. Again, people should learn how to stop competition. No marriage is perfect. People just show you what they want you to see. To each their own. Just run your home the way you think. What might be working for A is not working for B. And then people should learn how to keep away from some of these groups. If you don't know where to, just go to church. Some of these groups will give you wrong advices that are going to either make or mar you. And then coming to the men's side, some men should learn how to bring down their ego. This country is different. I know it's going to take a huge toll on you, but you can't come here and then you don't want to support your partner, and then you guys begin to start having um issues that can be settled amicably. And then women on their own side should also learn how to, I know power makes people crazy and all of that. Maybe you're earning more than your husband now, and you think that you can be lord over him. People should just learn how to respect one another. And again, I think what causes some of these issues is also possibly how one of the partners has been treating the other one from Nigeria. And then when you come here, you now feel like, oh, this is my breaking point. I'm just going to treat this person the way I feel. So I think people should learn how to make God the foundation of their homes. And then when I talk about talking goes a long way. And if you feel that you can't settle these things by yourself, probably you just have to seek
Okay.
professional help. Thank
Um,
you very much.
okay. Thank you, Nurse Nene. Thank you, guys. So we've been here since 8 o'clock. It's supposed to be for three, in fact, for 2.5 hours, but somehow we've reached 3 hours. I think we're going to have to have a part two of this place because there's a lot of requests, and unfortunately, we won't be able to have everybody to speak because of time itself. But someone just sent a quick message. I just want to read that quickly. This is a female, by the way. She said, "Wish I'm bold enough to share my story publicly. But if Olomo can summarize it, and I've shared it, she said it. So she said, I took the bold step to walk away after 14 years of my marriage because I was almost losing it. I was running mad at a point. Just saying this to buttress the points that women also get depressed too. And she said she's not a part of the Jackpot Love Scam, by the way, but she's also based in the UK. One of them depressed and still holding on to God to heal me. Please, like the man from Canada said, please walk away instead of dying in marriage. As much as we all want our marriage to work, our lives comes first indeed. Thank you very much, sister, for sending that. And, just like she said as well, please walk away if that's how you feel. if your marriage is not working. It's not the end of the world. Your life comes first indeed. Ogashola Kenny, quickly, please. The mic is yours. We have to go quickly, please, sir. The mic is yours, sir.
Thank you, Olomo. Good evening, my leader, and good evening to everyone. It's been an amazing Twitter space conversation. I salute every of the speakers. Great comments tonight. I wish I could say a lot of things, but just to summarize quite a couple of them, and I'll write on what you have just said recently. I mean, just a couple of minutes ago about the woman that's been married for 14 years. And to an extent, I think I could connect with what she had said because I remember just a bit of background. I mean, this year makes it 10 years that I've been married successfully. And well, one thing later understood as a man relocating from Nigeria to a developed country is I was just trying to connect with what that woman has said. I can remember early stage in even in the UK. As a man, there were some things I usually say to my wife. I didn't know that those things were actually depressing to her. As a person, I wanted the best for her in terms of maybe the way she worked, where she's working, and all of that. But I never knew that it was depressing. And sometimes you will see she will not talk in the house. She's just angry about a lot of these things. And it was until I sat down and actually understood that, man, it seems this person, there's a problem here. I never even knew that she's been going for therapy classes because she was already getting depressed. So as a man, sometimes we personally needs to. I think Nurse also mentioned that sometimes as men we need to actually reassess ourselves as men and look at it that how are we actually treating these women. I think that's very important. It was until I calmed myself down, actually looked at the other side of my spouse to see that what if I'm in this person's shoe? Some of these things that I'm saying to her, hurtful words, how does it look to her? How does it sound? How will it make the person feel? So I had to be very intentional about having constructive and healthy conversation with her, even in the UK. And I'll give a bit of background, please. Olomo, give me a few minutes more. I can remember one of my friends in Nigeria then, Okun. Okon will date a lady for 2, 3 weeks and they get married. And you know the funny thing is that when he travels out for a project within 2 months or 3 months, when he's back, everything in his house will be packed away. Everything, I mean everything, furniture, everything will be. It's like the lady will just bring a trailer and then they will pack everything in his house. Everything wiped away. It happens to him twice. And why have I given this background story is because someone also says that a lot of things that is happening in England or any of these international countries, these things are not new. But the reason why some of these things are coming up now is because we just want to be intentional as a community to see how we can rather improve on these things as individuals, as couples, and relationship builders. And the truth is that the background I gave that someone that you met within 3 weeks, you married the person, and after 3 months, the person packed everything. That's the same way it applies to Japa law. A lot of these early relationship or early marriage, some of them they just quickly get married. Maybe it's just being in a relationship for maybe 2 months or 3 months, or some of them are just like, this person wants to travel, connect them, and then they get married. They will like, when we get there, we'll get to understand ourselves. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And for the married people that have been married for many years and then relocating to these countries, a few things I've noticed personally, and it applies to myself and my family, is that one, money was a major issue. And I could remember Kem said something some time ago. He said, "Owó tí ò tó ló máa ń jọ wèrè lójú." That means that money that is not enough is what usually bamboozle people. And I think this applies a lot to our women. I'm going to be very balanced with whatever I'm saying, and it's just my opinion, is what applies to my home. A lot of women, when they come into these countries and they start making money, they start converting those pounds to naira, and then it becomes a big money to them. Like, this is big money. So sometimes when you as a man have conversations, they will just see you like one small person. And so, but one thing that helped us as a family was it was more about conversation to let my spouse know that all this money you are making, it's not like you want to go and build one mansion in Nigeria. You are going, it's not, and at the same time, you are not going to be living here. It's not like you are just going to be living here for 2 years or 3 years. It's almost like you are going to be living here for life. So why the rush, like all this small money you are making now, then it makes you start misbehaving. we need to have this conversation of as a couple that this money will always make this money. It's just about ensuring that the money that you're making, how can you both be accountable to each other? And that's my next point. One of the things that helped us as a family was so we started having financial trackers. So what I did was got an Excel spreadsheet, the amount I was earning in salary, the amount she was also earning. It was a bit of difficulty at first, but I decided to come transparent at first and then started the spreadsheet, put all my income, all my expenses for the month because there was a major issue too. And I think Oluomo, we had this conversation a couple of months ago about sharing bills. And it was an issue in my home. But what helped us was transparency. So what I did was downloaded the Excel sheet, put my income, all the expenses of the month. My wife discovered that 95% of my income was going to home expenses, bills, and all sorts of things. It was there. She saw that, wow, this guy is doing a lot of things. And so when I keep telling her that I'm not making, by the end of everything, maybe it's only £200 that is left in my account, it was because of that transparency that see how all the money is going, see where everything is going to. And then it made her understand that, oh, okay, how can I come in? Okay, let me take council bill, let me take this one. And then we started being transparent. So all the income, we put it in our Excel tracker for the month, and then we see all the money that we are spending, how we are spending the money. And the other thing that also helped us with, we had a pool, a joint pool, where we just put 600 or 700 pounds per month to cover for groceries or home expenses. You want to buy shoes for kids, you want to buy clothes for kids. We just use that pool of account to buy it. So what we did was we added one account into a Google Wallet on our two phones. So anywhere you go, you can spend the money from that same card. You don't have to put all your salary into it, like Madam Doyin said. What works for her also doesn't work for other homes. But I think these are things that could basically work in some home. Just try, if you cannot come down to that level of understanding that, oh, I want to put all my salary into a joint account. You can have a single account and put funds into that account to cover for your groceries, to cover for your other basic amenities in home. And this, the other point I want to make is our men, our ego, we need to understand that we have left our home country. This is a new climb and this is a new culture. You will still find it here that it's funny that some men say they can't wash plates. Some men say they cannot cook or they cannot go to their wife's spot to take the food. These things should not be heard of out there. It should be a new normal for you. And we need to come as men to understand that these things, if we want our home to work in this new climate, in this new environment, we need to do all of these things. We need to succumb our egos and consider our right as men to understand that if we want this home to work, we need to be involved in these things. And then the other one I also noticed recently is unnecessary exposure or not being accountable to each other. Someone was talking about a couple that wanted a spouse that wanted to do tattoo, and I remember a friend that also came in some couple of months ago. I've never seen him smoking in Nigeria. He came in, and within 2 weeks, I've seen him smoking vape. And I had to say, what is all this? Have you had this notion before you left Nigeria? Or maybe because people see you as an elder in church, that's why moving here, you feel you can do a lot of these things. It's not going to help us as home, as families. If you just decide that a lot of things you have always wished you want to do in Nigeria, but because of the family culture, the community, you but coming here, you feel that nobody, you are not accountable to anybody. It's not going to help our marriages. We need to see that we have to be accountable to our spouses, to your wife. Don't say that because you are the man, you cannot be accountable to your wife. I mean, that really got me mad. That what kind of a person is this? You don't do this in Nigeria. You come in here, you're now spoken with. When I see people doing all this, mo kàn máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ communicate, àgbà náà rèé o, because it's a lot of money to smoke in this country. So you something you not been doing before. So it's a lot of things that we all need to be committed to. And my last point, sorry, Oluma, to have taken time, is commitment. It also affected us when early in this country because the way you are committed to your home in Nigeria is quite a bit different here because both of you now we are working. The time there is not like where you have the luxury of time in Nigeria and all that. Here, both the wife is also going out there to work, the husband is also going out there to work. So we need to be committed. Everything is not
Very
about
much indeed.
work. of work that you will see lately that a lot of our community members have been falling dead and all that. We need to take our time, commit ourselves to our families. I will tell you, Olumọ, in the last 2 years I've been in this country, I've traveled to 22 cities in this country with my family. So it's just about every one of us committing ourselves to the fact that yes, as a family, the summer is almost here now. Have you guys started planning how where do you want to travel to as a family? Where do you want just leave your vicinity, go to a hotel, stay for the weekend? These are some of the things that we should all keep doing. We have to be committed to make these things work. Thank you very much, Oluoma. I'll use
Okay.
my
Thank you, Mr. Shola Kenny. Thank you for always sharing your knowledge at all times. And it's also nice to see you at the NIU End of the Year party last year in Sheffield. I mean, it was nice to connect with you and your wife and the whole family. So, but everything you said, I agree with you. The financial tracker part, I don't know if it's possible for it to maybe educate us in the community about financial trackers. I think a lot of people want to see that. So, because of time, we don't have the time now. So maybe if you could put in the community to tell us A, B, C, and then people can learn
yeah,
from that.
Oluoma,
I
I'm,
think
I'm happy to share the Excel
please,
file, the Excel
please,
spreadsheet
Shayo. Please,
for that
Shayo. Yeah,
yeah.
because one or two pages in there, so if it's possible for you to share it, and then we
Yeah,
can
I'll
learn
do
from
that.
you as well, then take it from them. People can use it in their homes as well. I mean, it's
Okay,
worked
don't
for you,
worry.
so fingers crossed, it works for other people as well. But yeah, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Shola. So we have to go soon, but just give the mic quickly to our wonderful uh, marriage counselor, breakup and divorce coach, Madam Bironke. Like, always great to have her at all times. Unfortunately, she's meant to join us since, but I guess she got busy. But she said now. So before we're gonna close space. Give the mic to her to round off, and then Dedoyi, and then Kaushine, one of the sponsors of the brand, and we could call it nice because time is almost past 11 already. People have to go to work tomorrow. Madam Bironke, good evening, man. Is Japa Love is Camp? The mic is just mine.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Amazing, amazing space. I've been listening anonymously in and out. You're right. I've got a lot going tonight. Thank you so much to every speaker, especially Madam Adedoyi. Lots of nugget gold you've given there. I don't want to take so much time. Is Japa Love a scam? Yes and no. There is yes aspect of it and there is a no aspect of it. But ultimately, one thing I would like to emphasize is that in the UK here, if you truly want your marriage to work, a lot of deliberateness has to be involved. I always emphasize to people, many people don't actually understand the true concept of loving someone holistically in the UK. And there's so many factors responsible for that. Lot of pressure in this country. So if you're not deliberate about your relationship, about your partner, it's so easy to fall apart. I mean, I've been in it. I've been a divorcee. I've been a single parent. It's a shame that I won't be able to share so much because of time, but hopefully that opportunity will come. And I did a podcast not long ago where I actually, spread out a lot of stuff that has happened to me personally. One thing I like for every one of us to take away is that whether you choose to work on your marriage or not, there is always consequences for every action. If you choose to be a forgiving person, loving, ready to give it all, ultimately, I believe in the law of karma. This thing does not go to waste. As long as there is no violence in marriage, right? As long as there is no violence in marriage, if the man is not beating you, personally, and this is my personal opinion, I feel 80 to 90% of most of the issues we have, we can resolve if people seek options and opinions and solutions on time. And I'm so glad about a particular theme that's come up on this space tonight, which is our approach to healing, counseling, and therapy. As a community, this is not something we normally talk about before. I mean, I would say in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of improvement, and I'm so grateful for that. Prior to now, we don't really take it serious. The minute you talk about want to go for counseling, everybody assume you're mad. But now we are becoming more receptive to that, and it's an amazing thing to happen. Someone mentioned particular word earlier that most Nigerians in this country, like you migrated from Nigeria, there is an element of you that is damaged. Sincerely, we've all been through so much that we all need to heal. We all need to heal from a lot of abuses, you know, either directly or indirectly from from the past that many people have suffered with. And a lot of time, this really doesn't even have a lot to do with finances. Serious. Finance it will eventually sort themselves out. I've been in that shoe. If you give yourself time in this country, initially it might be very rough, and I can understand that. Seriously, virtually everybody have been through it. You will go through that patch of that roughness in finances. But if you're able to hold yourself together, eventually that will settle. What I noticed, like in our time, was that actually people were not divorcing like they are doing right now, as in within first 2 3 years of their marriages. It's usually after they have settled. They've bought the houses together. Kids are now growing. I know a particular family that the minute their last child got into university, this woman just said, "Yeah, that is it, I'm done." Can you imagine? Over 22 years of her life in that marriage, nurturing the relationship, nurturing the kids. Last kid got into university, and she pulled the plug. I felt so bitter, so upset that what kind of madness is this, for God's sake? We tried so hard to, begging. I'm telling you, like imams, they are Muslims. She said, "No, I have been tolerating it. I only stayed this long because I wanted my children to have." And in my head, I was like, I don't think your kids have actually had a balanced life. Because some of these abuse that is making you pull the plug after 22 years, they would have witnessed. And whether you like it or not, an aspect of them would have been damaged. And I said to her, she's way older than I am, that, "Ma'am, I know you want to leave. It's probably good for you to go for therapy, but as you're going, let your children too go, because I don't think this is just about you anymore. You might think, oh, you were there. If you feel you've been abused so much for this long, your children would have suffered part of this with you without you paying that level of attention." They are, she's in her 60s now, and Papa is 70 plus. They are no longer together. So it's not anything new that, oh, people marriages are, no, 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 no. So if you want yours to work, a lot of effort has to be put into it. There are so many beautiful marriages here, and I have to say, I will call my marriage now a beautiful marriage. But that happened after I had learned a lot of lesson. Right? I went for counseling. I'm a huge promoter of counseling. There are things you might not be able to talk through in your head. Families, even though they mean well, they may not be able to see it. They will come from the place of emotion. So sometimes going to a neutral person will help you talk through so many issues. In fact, it might not be your partner. It might be you that need to work on yourself first so that you can be receptive to love. Many of us are so uptight that even when someone is being nice to them, they don't know how to accept it. It is your damage, not necessarily your partner. That gentleman that talked about his issue, I was so glad you picked on it with Mr. Dudoye as well. That he needs help. Imagine with that level of emotion he has in him, and a new partner comes along who is so loving, he may not be receptive to that love without him working on himself first. I went through that phase, and I'm very open to talk about my vulnerability, right? Because I think personally I see vulnerability as strength, because it can be used positively and you can use it to inspire a lot of people. That was what got me into divorce coaching and counseling. You can you can heal from a lot of these issues and then go on to have a beautiful life again. I just want us to give ourselves, the chance. If your marriage has not broken down, if there is no, domestic violence in terms of beating or, all that. I understand emotional abuse. Yes, I do understand it. But can we talk about these issues? Can we, talk to therapists? And sometime after all the effort, it may not work. You might still need to go your separate ways. However, if you do, both of you will be going on your separate ways on a positive note. You don't have to separate and become enemies of each other, especially when children are now involved. Because it will become a different kettle of fish entirely if you have to co-parent. And when you're co-parenting from a bitter place, I'm telling you, you will building another broken generation. You will be building another broken generation, and that is not what we want because it's not worth it. With my ex-husband, despite the fact that we've gone our separate ways over 12 years ago, I'm telling you, we have a joint Facebook page that we both managed together, talking about, teenagers health, teenagers improvement. People will often say, why did you guys separate when you know you can work together like this? Listen, you can be horrible, horrible partners. You can be horrible, horrible partners, but you can be amazing parents because both of you have gone through journey of healing. I'm a huge promoter of that. If yours is not on that level yet, please let us work on it. And issue of finances, God bless the gentleman that talked about the Excel timesheet. I've got that. That was something that I've been using for years in this country. Even in my marriage that broke down, trust me, we never had any financial. The issue was not finance. We never had any financial problem. We were both earning well. We knew our places. We both achieved jointly and independently. But yet it still didn't work, which means maybe there was not a lot of love, whatever. But it's fascinating to know that effect of that marriage, we always assume in this community that, oh, women feel it more. It's not true. Actually, when marriage break in not so good a way, a lot of men actually suffer. My ex-husband still hasn't remarried 12 years ago, 12 years later. He's still single because he's waiting for Ronke to come back. Sadly, I have moved on. I have remarried. Yeah. And another thing is, for every failed relationship in this country, or probably anywhere in the world, we all contributed. It might be a case of 90 to 10%, 85 to 15, 70 to 30, it doesn't matter. Check within you. How did you contribute? How are you contributing to the current chaos that is happening in your home? I can call it chaos because I speak to people sincerely on daily basis, every single day. There is no day I don't talk about marriage in this country. Some will say pray. Some will say let's do this, let's do that. You give them ideas on what they need to do. Some will work, some wouldn't work. But I'm proud to go along reconciliation line. That can we try? Can we actually make effort before we call it quits? Don't let us just give up on each other. Let's give peace. Let's give forgiveness. Let's give healing. Let's give love a chance. Let's give respect, mutual respect on both sides. Let's give it a chance. If you work on that and it still doesn't work, then call it quits. But be aware that those innocent lives you've brought into it, they are your joint responsibilities. And that peace you choose not to have with each other in a marriage, outside marriage, you're going to have to tolerate talking with each other to ensure those children are balanced. We do not want to keep adding to the statistics of children from broken homes who are losing it or ending up in prison. These are the real issues. These are the real issues. I just hope a little bit of this has helped. There's so much to say, but I don't want to take too much of our time. Marriages are working in the UK. Absolutely, there are so many of them. I know so many beautiful couples. Tolerance, yes. Forgiveness, yes. Healing, yes. Communication, huge part of it. And God bless this last one that spoke about people going on holiday. Here, everybody just wants to make money. Where are you taking the money to? There are families here that have spent 20 years in this country and yet their children have not stayed there. And that's not because they don't have papers. It's just simply because they don't see it as something that has to happen. Actually, holidays are not expensive. You can download voucher, Groupon, all of them. Love holidays. £80, £70 within the UK. Go around, leave the comfort of your home so that you can have a clearer head to look at things from a different perspective. Actually, the love making you have in your house is different from the one you have on holidays. Sorry, that's me being raw. But it's the truth. Because when you're under sorry, because when you're under less pressure, you can explore better. Have you wondered why couples that are going through fertility problems don't, they won't get pregnant when they're within it, but the minute they go on holiday, they come back with pregnancy. It's because they've shifted a lot of, issues, and they are now in a much more relaxed atmosphere. Even if you're almost killing yourself at home, sometimes when you take a break, you can explore some of these issues and you come back and look at it from a different perspective again. Buy holidays. They don't have to be expensive. Plan well ahead of time. We need to be more intentional about how and things we do with ourselves as a family. If you don't do that, so I'm sorry, you will join that statistics. And it's not just about you. Are people hurting? Tell me about it. There are so many sad people in this country right now. Loneliness is real. I once had a group where we were called matchmaking for elderly people. Everybody above 35, divorcees and widows and widowers. You will be amazed at the stories. These people are no longer poor. This is why I'm saying it's not necessarily money issue. Money play a part, but it's actually subtle. They've made money. Now they've got the money, they've paid off their mortgage, but they are very lonely in their individual spaces because the children are now grown, they've gone. What then happens to you? What then happens to you? These are the far reaching effects I want us to think about. I sincerely pray that each and every one of us will get it right. For anyone that is going through whatever issues right now, it's not going to be the end of the stories, you know. If someone has scammed you, listen, I believe that person came into your life to teach you a particular lesson. Go work on yourself. Once you do that, love will come again if you are open to it. If you've been scammed, don't sit in that zone. It's not only men that are getting scammed. There are so many ladies in this country that have given papers to men, and after they collect their papers, what have they done? They've gone back to their exes. It happens both ways. So yes, the scam is there, but we can move on beyond that scam. I'm a crazily optimistic lover. I believe so much in the power of love and forgiveness. But even if you cannot love, can we actually learn to mutually respect each other? Respect yourself, respect the institution, respect the children you have brought into this relationship, and give yourself, heal, forgive yourself that you've messed up, but now I'm turning a new leaf and let's take it from there. And that is what I want to contribute. I hope that is helpful. I really hope that we can go back to revisit this issue. This should be a continuous topic at intervals. Despite whatever is happening on the tail end, people are talking about failed marriage is not true. There are so many beautiful marriages. I am telling you, so many of them. And maybe it's time we need to start to amplify that. Don't allow the negative emotions or the negative feelings to take over. There are so many people getting it right financially, emotionally, marriage wise. There are so many of our children that are doing well. We should begin to promote all these positivities more as opposed to drowning all the good with all the bad news. Yes, the bad are there, but there are so many good as well. So let's try and bring out a balanced story. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Madam Bironke. Always glad to have you on board. Even though you came late, so I think that's £100 fine for you, man. So
I'll pay.
I appreciate that. Thank you for always educating us. Listen, amazing job you do for
Please,